Okay, welcome everyone to the 81st Keshe Knowledge Seekers Workshop for October 1st, 2015. And today, once again, we'll meet with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute in Barletta, Italy. And I think he'll be talking about the October 16th event coming up in the next 2 weeks here, which is a world peace, ambassadors for world peace endeavor. And Mr. Keshe can enlighten us more about that and several other topics today.
Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever you are, whenever you listen to these teachings and workshops. As usual, we make a few announcements at the beginning that we are in line with what we are teaching. Okay, as Rick said, we are working towards the 16th of October World Ambassadors Meeting. As usual, we work on the basis of delivering the technology against or in exchange for peace. We have received a number of positive answers, but we don't expect much till literally 24 hours, 48 hours before the meeting, when the ambassadors have to receive their feedback from their national governments. And it takes time for them to attend a meeting where they can commit, or they should commit their country to peace. Because an ambassador is like a president of the nation in a country. His move is well calculated. So we've been already told a number of embassies will attend, and this will build up as we go. The whole purpose is that the units for the energy and for the card are already ready to be sent out to the people who have purchased them. We keep everything to the launch day of the 16th, and just prior to 16th, a number will be released for the world presidents to be moved on to their country. Otherwise, on the 16th onward, all the orders which we have received will be fully met, as we already have the units on the floor. We don't have to worry about what's going to happen. We know one thing, and that is for the world ambassadors to attend, they need to understand that they need to attend because of the nationals and the nation which wants them to. So for this reason, as we did with the other launches of other programs with the foundation, we have, or we will do today, set up a page on the Keshe Foundation forum with a list of the embassies, their emails for the ambassadors, and a letter which you can, it's a template. You can take it and photocopy it or download it and put the name of the ambassador of your nation or the ambassadors to encourage them to attend the presentation. We know this works. This works in one way, and that is because in the second World Ambassador meeting, as I mentioned before, the Italians exercised this right. NATO and EU members were told categorically by American embassy that they cannot attend the meeting, and through the pressure of the public, Italian public, the Italian embassy broke rank and attended it, and that became the opening of the breakthrough for the rest of the keys to be. Even some 2 months later, the President of the United States asked for the key, the USB stick, which it followed. So what you do and how you deliver this email to your embassy and to your foreign office, even to the office of your president in your country, that you encourage the embassy to move, or ambassador or officials from the embassy to attend, that they receive a unit. We do not need to worry on that side so much, because last time we shared the key with the governments for 2 years, till the Taiwanese government released it to their scientists, and then we released the key automatically after 2 years. This time, on the same day, more or less, as we released the key, the units to the governments to inform them what is about to come, world nationally will receive the same. So round about 16th, 17th, something like 1,500, 2,000 units will be distributed across the world, which means there is no chance for it to be silenced or to be kept. And on the other hand, we have already started moves that we don't wait for the 16th. But the people which we trust to carry the units, holding them, know that in case of anything, the units will be opened up. So we have taken precaution for any eventualities. What this means is that the units will be located, sent out in different ways to people we trust across the Keshe Foundation worldwide to be holding units as a reserve. So there is no possibility that the situation can be changed. The only difference there with the ambassadors meeting is there is the prelude to what we try to do. We do energy in exchange, free energy in exchange for peace, where when I was talking to Ren this morning, his units, they are producing two types of units, 2.2 kilowatt and 3.4 kilowatt or 3.2 kilowatt units. This is within parameters of what we said, 2 to 3 kilowatt units. And the Keshe Foundation units, which is manufactured in Italy, we will announce in the coming time what it is. This can be changed. We know in the forthcoming units, this will be changed drastically. But with the Keshe Foundation unit, what we manufacture in Italy, we will not announce anything, but it's in this parameters plus. We have seen huge needs. The reason for the limitation here we see with the Philippine unit, as others will produce their own, is they're using a structure of matter in it. So they have limited it. Where in the units we use, we don't use any matter condition. So we go into a different direction. But this is the beauty of the way people will develop. We know, and I was talking to Renan this morning, there are a number of companies who are asking for if they can buy these units in advance for commercial trading. You send all your orders to Keshe Foundation through the shop, or you send it through the webmaster at Keshe Foundation, and we contact you and we meet your demands as much as we can. We have a target at this moment for Italy for about 500,000 definite delivery in October, November. November, December, we should be able to meet 1 million demand. We are set up. You got to realize we are not working with the manufacturers. The foundation is owner of the structure, major shareholder. So we don't wait. Everything is done according internally. And we have already started employing workforce in Italy, and we become now with this structure part of the Italian workforce. And the government at this moment support us. I was in Italy, I was in Rome last week. We know the situation. And in such a high unemployment in Italy, creating 2,000 to 3,000 jobs in the next couple of months or 3 months with different aspects of Keshe Foundation, every door has been open for us to develop. So we are not the same as in the Philippines, relying on others to do the job. It's part of the Keshe Foundation as a major shareholder, and we will meet the demands plus other things which will come. So if you are or you would like to receive the units, you don't want to manufacture, to be agents, just send a request. We'll set up a line from the shop that you can ask or send the order through, or through the webmaster asking for supply. The target is that the Keshe Foundation in the coming weeks across the world will start producing their own units. We are not trying to do a job that the Chinese or the others do. One of the agreements which we try to reach in this World Peace Conference with the ambassadors is that cross-border shipment will stop. Means China would not be able to ship any units out of China. Chinese will do for themselves, the Italians do for themselves, the Germans do for themselves. The reason for this is very clear. It's a new horizon and it's a new employment opportunity, which everybody has all the resources to do. And this is important for us. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. Good morning. So it's important for us to see what happens. Good morning. So we see the process, we are planning it in a way that we stop very rapidly, what do you call it, cheaper units from China. The cheaper units from China will be for the Chinese. The Italian market has to meet the Italian market, the German market has to meet Germans, and American market the same. And we've seen a large number of companies around the world showing interest, they want to produce it. So in the coming weeks, coming days, we start delivering, sending the units which we already manufacture. There is a possibility that in the coming weeks after the 16th, we'll release the amputation units very rapidly. This is our agenda for immediate interaction worldwide. The ones which you can use if you got a toes or a finger amputated, in the operating, doctors can put it into practice and see if you're correct. The plan is to produce between 100,000 to 1 million pieces and freely send it to every hospital where these operations takes place, unconditionally. It's them to use, and the process will be explained to them with a video that this is all they need to do. And we know a lot of people will take, doctors will take that a step forward. We see a lot of movement around different groups of chats and talks in respect to nanomaterial, gas materials in different languages. We encourage you because you have to do. There is a progress that the Keshe Foundation, as you see it, we just become the educational arm, not the, what I call, development condition or people trying to interact. Be careful with these chat rooms which open up. They are not held or headed by pedophiles. This is our biggest problem. We see one of them running now under a name, and we know the person in it, be it at the moment under investigation for pedophilia. This is the groups you have to stay out of, even they look so smart. Organize as many chat rooms in different levels, nanomaterials, in GaNs, in plasma, now we moved into, in producing the materials, organizing the factories. This is a new revolution, nobody can control. But do it with the structure that it is manageable and acceptable. And don't do it all in English. Organize your chat rooms. People are knowledge seekers. You speak all sorts of languages. Set up your own nanotechnology chat rooms. It'll grow. We are building the communities on the Keshe Foundation servers to allow this. This is what we keep on saying, and I especially push the Chinese community to do. Set up your own structured chat rooms for the Keshe Foundation. We'll support you with the servers from Italy, and in the coming months, we'll place 2-3 major servers in China, most probably, to support you that you work as one team. So do not wait for discussions to happen under the Keshe Foundation rule in a forum of the Keshe Foundation or in different, what do you call it, Facebooks or Skype chats. Develop that you can add to the knowledge. Nobody owns this technology and nobody can claim to own it. This is the knowledge of God, this is the knowledge of free space, and it's your right to develop it. But what we see is what we call colonization of languages, and mainly all in English. The Spanish group, you are strong enough, set up your own chat rooms. Start it and you'll find out people will follow it. The same with the Chinese we start doing. Don't wait for anybody to speak English that you can communicate. It's our failure we don't speak your language, but at least we can tell the ones who speak it, try to set up their structure. This is important because I was talking to Rick and Vince this morning. We have a problem. We have changed in a very systematic way from matter state to to nanomaterial, and then we've gone to the GANs, and now we developed into plasma, and now we only work in this. And there are people, as Rick said, got lost because we moved too fast. The move is on for years, but some of you are still trying to understand this cross-section, some this cross-section, and some this. For some people to go from there to there is difficult, even to go from there to there is difficult. We've seen this from the beginning when we introduced the GANs and nano layers. It took time for people to understand it. So set yourself up in a way that people can and always leave room for them to extend to the next place. Universe works on this. Interaction of plasma, or what we call interaction of magnetic field, both having gravitational and magnetical, or gravitational and magnetical. So what happens when you have two plasmas, they interact, what you like to see, South Pole, North Pole, that you understand. For those who have a problem with the plasma, there is no difference between a plasma than a GANs than a nanomaterial. It's just the GANs and a nanomaterial and a matter state are the condition in the atmospheric condition. So what you are used to is atmospheric and tangibility. And if you're comfortable with that, you stay there. If you want to extend the plasma technology or understanding the work of the universe, we go to a condition that there is no tangibility or visibility. What is the problem a lot of you have, and a lot of people who come into the understanding of this technology is, okay, we had the copper, we see it, we can feel it. We had a nanomaterial in our hand, we see the black stuff. We came to GANs, we can see it, but we feel it, we draw it, we can touch it, so we accept it in a way. But with the plasma is the same GANs. Now it enters into the atmospheric condition of the Earth, it enters the atmospheric condition of the universe. That's where the difference is. We enter not pressures and temperatures of condition of this planet, we enter the performance of the same atomic structure in the plasma in the condition of the universe. And this is where most of you get lost. How come is this? How come is that? It's very much having a bowl of soup in the fridge or outside, in the freezer or outside. It's still the same soup. Nothing has changed. It's just in the freezer is solid, outside is liquid. Plasma in a gas state has a physical appearance in a condition of Earth condition. In a vacuum condition, it's still a plasma, but it behaves exactly the same, but in a much more freer condition. It means when you see the GANs, it is a coil, it's green, white, whatever you're used to it by now. Here, the plasma is free. It depends on the eye of the beholder to see its color, according to gravitational magnetic field of the environment of the universe. If you look and poke into the blood vessel, blood is not red in the blood vessel because it's in a vacuum condition. When it's in touch with the atmospheric, it becomes red. So you are already used to, it's part of your own structure. It's just that you have not been aware of it. When we poke into a blood vessel in a vacuum condition, you look into it not as a matter, you won't see red. Red appears when it's in contact on the Earth gravitational condition, even though we see it as a blood vessels, even our blood vessels are red, they look dark. Internally, they are not. So plasma has its own condition. We are used to it. It's part of us. But now the body is in a vacuum condition where us as a human have made a containment of it. We call it our physical body with 2 legs and 2 arms. In a space, now the 2 legs and 2 arms is the totality of the universe. But the interaction of the magnetic gravitational field does not change. It's still the same. The ones who are gravitational in becoming or linking up with another, they link up with magnetical. That's what it is. One gives and the other one takes. Where at this point is magnetical for one, becomes gravitational for the other, and as it goes through and it spreads out, it is magnetical, which means it spreads out, and it has to be attracted by somewhere, which is gravitational. It has to be gravitated to. In the body of a man is confinement of the skin. In the universe is openness of the universe. And as in our teachings we said, if you have the universal shape in any shape or form you consider it to be, as we have the central line of the universe, as we were teaching yesterday, everything has come from the central line of the universe, what we call the principal line, and has spread it out into the span of the universe or unicos. So the balloon, as it's released, and the environment of the unicos allows it, the universe opens up into the spans as it has. It's like a gas. Gas take the shape and the size of its container. So does plasma. As long as the other conditions allow it, it expands to the line and the limit of the strength. So if you are a human cell here on Earth, you originally started from this line. So the other fields which went across the universe, which all started from there, you have connection with everything. Because magnetic fields, even fine, very weak, they all have all their connections. It's the mother which has the connection with the child, doesn't matter where the child goes, because it starts from there. And as it goes through the process and it divides to a weaker or subdivision of the smaller packages, becomes different things in different part of the universe. And as you get closer, you have a higher strength gravitational magnetic fields. So as is with the plasma, as we thought up to now, as you go to the center, the strength both in gravitational and magnetic field increases. So does in the universal condition. It's the same thing. So those who have a problem and they think nanomaterial is a new thing, and those who have moved into the nano to the GaNs and they think the GaNs is a new thing, there is another step on top of the plasma, which is itself in a matter state condition, we call it GaNs. In a free state of the universe, we call it the plasma. Sun is a plasma. Earth is a plasma in the openness of the universe. So what happens, whatever the Earth has gravitational magnetic field releases or absorbs, has come from somewhere in the universe. And because we are very a small entity compared to the sun, most of our connection goes to our mother. Because we were created out of the fields of the mother. So there should be no confusion, there should be no loss, as Rick was said, now you start talking about the plasma, a lot of people are getting lost. There is no loss. It's just, it took for you to understand in a very simple system. Maybe we can rephrase it. You had the copper wire. It was conditioned as a matter state to molecular, as we say, tightness, that you could physically carry the wire around with you. We created a heat condition which creates not the heat, but it creates a release or loosening of the magnetic gravitational fields, and we manage to see the molecular structure to be separated to atomic, what we call nano. And as we saw the nano layers, they became black, and we know it's there because copper was copper color and this was black. So we knew we achieved it. We then again changed the environment, because if you look at it, now you have a new material. Before you had copper black, copper color. Now you have nano material, which is black. So your new containment looked black. Then we added a new environment of what we call sodium with chlor plus water, which became a new box. Now you have a new entity. This new entity has become what you call GANs, much looser, at its own freedom. But as it came from here, it has a new dimension. So much looser, tight, is still connected, but a bit looser. A new condition of salt. Now you created a new box. Here you saw the matter. Here you saw superconductivity. Here you see release of energy. Now what we are going to is the development of the science, understanding further in operation, and literally you come to a new box. And this is your new box, the plasma. Here, Earth condition, here, atmospheric, universal. So all your boxes come to be in it. That's as simple as it is. So there should be no losses in understanding. It's just now the box starts moving from confinement of a copper wire to top of the copper wire. Then in the environment of water, now you work in the environment of the universe. There is another step after this. Man is blind because the knowledge is not transferred. This level about plasma condition of the universe, in time, man in space will see. So at this moment, those who got lost should not be lost. They just should understand this simple framework. You change the environment, put it this way. If it's very hard in a matter state, you had a solid, you heat it up or change the pressure, it became liquid. You heat it up or change the pressure, it became vapor or a gas. And if you heat up to a condition of furthermore, the gas become loose, that each one plays as a star. That's all it is. There should be no loss. There should be no confusion. It is change of environment. We change the environment here by heat to this. You expect with the heat, liquidity and what they call vapor, but because we chose the right temperature, pressure in the confinement of the gravitational magnetic field of caustic, we managed to still hold on to. You didn't see the liquid because this is what you were used to. You still the atomic structure, but close to each other, not lucid. And then here, you were expecting to see vapor. But because, again, we chose the same sodium configuration, because sodium is the linking element on this planet, instead of you getting vapor, you start seeing entities. You call it GANs. In the matter of the universe, we don't have the sodium. We have the pressure, gravitational, magnetic field of the universe. And that's what you see plasma. There is no difference, a plasma of a molecular copper to the plasma of a free inner condition of the universe. Interaction is the same, attraction is the same. Where you were confined to be matter, you became loose, that you could become allowing further steps that you could see more of. You're released to be in a gaseous state, you could interact. All we did, we changed the environment and become plasma. So we should not lose no one in the process. But the beauty with this is that you are always used to matter. Now working in a gas environment and then now working in a plasma environment, you have one freedom. Now with the plasma, you can choose where and what you want your plasma to be. Now you have a freedom which you didn't have before. You choose your plasma in a given condition, you can get a gas, change it, you can get nanomaterial, change it, you can get solid matter. And that is the freedom which is now you have to understand. And that's where the beauty comes in. This is where we sit with the conversion, not talking about molecular or atomic or a gas, but a free plasma, which we have the freedom to decide what it's going to be. And when you work with the plasma at this level, plasma releases its energy as a gravitational magnetic field. Now you can do whatever you like with it. You decide the change. You decide where you want the other part to be. You want it here or you want it there. Because now you have a bigger knowledge, you understand the more part of the totality is irrelevant because wherever it goes, the link is there. So start to understand the simplicity, and those who try to make it complicated are those who never understood, at least by making it complicated, they show they are intelligent. But the intelligence of the universe is simple, belongs to all of us. And this is what we do. You are happy up to now to work and manipulate the metal, and you are a craftsman. You stay in that bracket, because if you lose it, then you have no identity to exist. Those of you who move to understand how you can manipulate, instead of getting shapes, now you get fields, you move to nanomaterial. Understand how nanomaterials work. You can make your world around it, and you can survive in different ways of application for centuries. Those who go a step further and work with GANs, you can still stay work there. But you got to understand this is the limitation of planet. You work in this, you're confined to Earth. You work with the matter, nano or GANs, whatever you want to call it, how you want to run your discussion, this is confinement to the village of Earth. And those who are happy to run discussions and work with it and look different aspects of it, because they feel comfortable with it, you're welcome. When the nanomaterials came out 15, 20 years ago, people said, you're crazy, this cannot be superconductors, room temperature. The amount of, not only us, but other research organizations came up with was to prove, confirm concept. All these proof, confirm concept was the ones who were attached to the old system did not want to lose it. By trying to block, they could carry on with what they did. We brought the nanomaterial, And in a short time, we brought the GANs and we opened it up. So anybody who gets stuck to it is according to their intelligence and no more. Because it carries on. You're happy to be a metal worker. This is still beauty in seeing your artwork. If you want to be in a group and develop different type of nanomaterials for different applications on this planet, you're quite welcome, because you find a way to justify your existence. It's still acceptable by you and the rest of us. Those who went to the GANs start developing different manipulating GANs and working around it, is still the same. But don't forget, the life of GANs is short and is limited to human being, and that's all. You will go no further, because you cannot operate the GANs in the space. Because once you bring your GANs in the open environment of space, it becomes a plasma. So you have to decide, according to your intelligence, where you want to be. And in so many ways, the more groups are established in different languages to carry this discussion, and all of them understanding that their limitation is to this, till the final point of the interaction of two stars, you're quite welcome. Discuss it in French, in German, in English, poach each other from each other's forums, and call the other ones criminals they don't understand. This is the habit of you, and we leave it to you. But if you join the Space Institute to work with the space and go into space, and this is where the freedom of the universe comes, we work from now on with plasma. There is no difference. They're all plasmas. This is a free plasma of captivity and ignorance. This is a plasma of the universe, freedom of travel and exploration. If you're happy to be in the village of Earth, you've been here for millions of years, you're quite welcome to it. But if you want to expand into the openness of the universal family, you have to move on. And those who are happy to be there, let them be there. They make equipments confirming whatever. Good for them. Because as I said from the beginning, each one will take from this technology according to their intelligence. And we've seen it. The intelligence, if you become a PhD, you have to protect it, and you try to find the same kind of clown around you because it fits your level of understanding. We brought the matter to nano. Large number of people have been working on nano for past years. Now we brought the introduction of the GANs, which has now become exclusivity of the Keshe Foundation and the Spaceship Institute. Now we add to it the work of a plasma as a free entity on condition, which means you, with going into the plasma condition, you become the master of at least part of the development of the technology for yourself in open expanse of the universe. So, they tell me this morning, before I get here, you've lost a lot of people, because now you've gone into plasma and nobody knows how to follow. Now you see, there is nothing to follow. It's just to go to the higher class. If you want to fail, you know, in Italy, if you fail, you stay in the same class again and again till you understand. So you can stay there, no problem. It's not a failure. You mature as you read more. But understand one thing: GANs, nanomaterials, and matter condition is the prison cell for the man, to the confinement of the village of the earth. If you want to move on, you move to plasma, then you find a way out into space and a space technology, and it's so easy that the biggest problem with most of you is, I'm a housewife, how come I understand plasma? I am a, what do you call it, a hairdresser. How come I understand the work of a plasma? And a guy who's got the title of PhD cannot understand it. And then you demean your own intelligence. We are all intelligent according to what we would like to take from our environment. In the space, nobody asks you if you got a PhD or you got a master's in chemistry or biology or health. If you can save your own life, you're fine. a virus in your body or whatever. Because your intelligence tells you this is how they interact. I have to find out where the connection has been made with the plasma of the virus, with the plasma of my body. Then you find it, you find their strength, you solve the problem. So you here to exist have to have titles. Doctors, PhDs, and God knows, civil engineers, chemical engineers, and the rest of it. Here, there is one title, universal community. You know everything, you're part of the same organization, you work and deal in the same understanding of the interaction of the plasma. So, those who have a problem with the plasma, they don't have a problem. They have a problem in letting go of the prison of Earth. This is what we call habitual prisoners. You know, in the open world at the moment, the criminals who've been in prison for 10, 20 years, they come, they find outside world too difficult to handle, too many bills to pay, too much to look buy to rent a house, to clothe themselves. What do? They commit a crime to go back in because in prison everything is done for them. They're called habitual prisoners. We see 30 to 60% of the world population prisoners always go back because it's a comfort zone. So you are prisoners to this planet and you find comfort with the matter and now gas and a little bit with gas. It's your prerogative. You live according to your intelligence. So now you have to understand where we're going. We haven't brought anything new. This is the discussion I had with people who've been around the Keshe Foundation. Stop using, you haven't brought anything new. I said, it's nothing new. No, then it shows you have nothing to offer. I offer the knowledge. It's for you to understand. This has been one of the biggest stumbling blocks, that stop using the word you haven't brought anything new. I haven't brought anything. Matter has been there. Nanomaterial has been there as long as the man started cooking with fire. The minute the man burned the first meat on the fire, he thought he can cook it, he created nanomaterial. How do you correct material? The Chinese, in every time they cook on the high heat of the wok, they produce nanomaterial. They've done it for thousands of years. But you're blind to it. We've done the same with the gas. In Western world, now, every man who runs a barbecue shop, a kebab shop, make a gas every night, but he was never aware of it. What does he do? He has barbecued the meat, the burned meat is on the sticks and everything. What does he do? He gets a hot caustic, he washes it off, but he never collects it. You've all been at it. You're all barbecue kebab men now, but you never collected it. So it's bringing back the knowledge to understand. Now we have created new kind of scientists, we call them plasma physicists. My foot, there are no physicists and there are no plasma. If you look in a further time inside yourself, you're already made and been working out of the plasma yourself. So how come it's strange to you? How come you feel the pain of your child? What does it do? He gives you a letter, Papa, I'm in pain. You feel it because you have a link in non-tangible direction, the father, the son. You already know this, but you try to ignore it. It's not my problem. Why does it look strange when the Chinese in Chinese Keshe Foundation, they raise their hands and the motor stops? The brain is made of CO2. They put the CO2 in it. They interact with the interaction of the fields of the two. The reaction is, this to me is a stop. So it stops. Somebody wrote to me on an email recently that, or on the Skype, that you did not explain the situation of the stopping of a reactor number 2 in the Sensano. And a lot of people made a lot of talk about it in a negative way because they had to prove their existence. He says in it, in a way, if you understood, or what I understood from his email or text was, so you have the power to stop life in anyone. Why don't you silence your opposition? This is not my job. If you can stop a physical reactor in a given position at your wish, you can stop the life of those who oppose the foundation. But this is not my job. That was to show the power of the technology in understanding. Taking a life is the job of the thieves. Destroying a life is the job of the thieves, not mine. Even though I have a full knowledge how to do it. You were looking for physicality of the stopping of a motor. The knowledge within me is I can stop life at any point, but that's not the purpose of life. The purpose of teaching is to elevate, not to demean. So you got to understand how much knowledge is carried. How much you already know the plasma technology, like the nanotechnology for centuries, from thousands of years, where your intelligence started. Man became more intelligent than the rest of the animals from the time when he started cooking meat. He discovered the fire. Before that, we were like the rest of the animals, more or less. Now we moved, and now we see the whole structure is something we already know. Because if the plasma is something strange to you, plasma is what you live in. Plasma is what brings you life. The plasma of the gravitational magnetic field of the sun, irradiating and leaving itself and coming to the earth, and you absorbing it as vitamin D, gives you life. So you already work with plasma. Your life depends on it. What's the strange thing about it? Now learn how to manipulate it. Learn how you can use it as you were ignorant to what you started from the day one, thousands of millions of years ago. And now you're all at this moment kebab shop. We have the most strongest GAN scientists in the kebab shops, because if they don't wash the iron beam at night, tomorrow morning, what is left there, the meat, will poison the customer next day. So we already have plasma physicists in all the kebab shops around the world for hundreds of years. So you haven't come very far opening and starting discussion rooms about the GANs, unless you understand what you're doing with it. But discuss it in a way that you don't become kebab shops, but you become part of the structural understanding of evolution of the man. With what he knows and what he's ignored himself of. So now we talk about plasma because we are, as a Keshe Foundation Space Institute, targeting to take man into space. We have seen the matter state has not helped much. Rocket technology has limitation because it deals with matter. We have not seen much progress in jet propulsion. We have not seen much progress with levitation because levitation is connected to the condition of the gravitational magnetic field of the matter state. Because even though to you is matter, but it still is a more compacted plasma. So you have limited yourself to that position. If you come to a composition plasma like planet Earth, then you have managed to work somewhere in between, and you are more or less no better off than GANs. That is the point of levitation. So you have managed to become GANs floating system. When you can work in the interaction of gravitational magnetic field of the universe, in interacting with every other thing, then you become universal passengers than being nano specialists or cancer specialists or matter specialists have been for centuries. There is a huge problem, is this transition line. This transition line will separate man from space. The transition line is plasma. The transition line is letting go of matter state attachments or joining in a fields where you have the freedom of the universe. Nobody will force you to go anywhere. Those guys who are matter state and have not developed are still going around cultivating. Even around this area, in the most advanced nation in the world, of Italy, we still see people in their hands bending and cultivating and using animals. So Italy in the north, farming done is different way. In the south, it's still in primitive way of a million years ago. I see it every day I drive. People still bend in their hands and knees and cultivate and plant things. You go to a nanomaterial, you go to a gas material, you do the same thing. You haven't advanced much. You're still imprisoned in the physicality of this planet. You go to space, you don't need to cultivate banana today, wheat tomorrow. You make from the plasma what you need at the point of your need. And the beauty of it is, even with the new plasma reactors which we deliver, we give you this energy. The new plasma MAGRAF systems do not work in this condition. They are not for here. But because they release plasma and you're happy to convert it to this level and you're happy to see some things on it, it does that because it comes from the higher order. If those who work in plasma, those who work in understanding conversion of the plasma, start developing new technologies and systems, then what you don't need to go that way. Here, you need the matter state. Here, you convert the energy of the same matter. Before converting it into matter state, you can use it without tangibility. It's you who decides the point of tangibility. We've seen in the report, which we explained 4 or 5 weeks ago, from Washington University, George Washington University, they have shown again, as we've done for a long time, how they change the GaNs into nano and then they can make wire from it. So what has come as evolution has started. You want to convert, you do. We've seen how with people like Alex, they move to this level. They can transfer the energy or matching it. We was discussing it with Marco this morning, that Alex puts something in it, in the bottle, and somewhere else, wherever he can produce whatever he's got the GaNs, replicate of it there. So now we have seen not the transmutation, but the conversion of energy. The transmutation of the elements comes at this level. This is the promise of the prophets of God. When a man reaches the point of transmutation is when the man matures. So we're reaching the time of the maturity, where you decide what you want, if you want it in a matter state, or you want it as energy without the matter. Then we have developed the new space technology. So as part of the teachings here, you've got to understand in a simple way, nothing has changed. The limitation is your understanding and your intelligence. And the limitation is if you still want to be the passengers of this. Because the ones who want to be the passengers of this will deny everything about this. Because otherwise they can't confirm their own existence. If you are there to move on into space, and in the coming months we announced it, we will bring this forward so rapidly. Now that this unit is released, this unit and its operation, even though we use matter, will become the energy packs of plasmas, gives the freedom of the man in space to produce whatever he needs, whatever he needs, is a transition time for those who are taking the step between the two. On 16th of October, we allow the governments to have a peep through what is coming. And if we come to an agreement with the Iranian government on 21st of January 2016, in Tehran, will show the spaceship. We are that advanced. We push. If I get the agreement of the Iranian government in Tehran, you will see the first spaceship on 21st of January. If we do not get agreement, we'll go for 21st. And if we do not get agreement because of the governmental pressures, we'll show it in Beijing in Keshe Foundation annual meeting, which is getting organized by Lisa. And by that time, most probably, a lot of you, as you produce GANs, you will produce enough spaceships that the governments have no choice but to sit down and discuss. As you've seen, since you come back as a first group and second group of the masters, we don't talk hardly ever about this part. For us, this is finished. And the teaching of the SSI, even in the 3-year course which starts today, we've seen the first student arriving, will be only in plasma. It's no use wasting any more time. It's no use talking about this and hoping then you have to change the mind. As one of the world leaders said about the Keshe Foundation and our technology, it's no use teaching our children about the physics which is not working and then bring them to university and tell them we told you all the lies for past years. Now we know the knowledge. The books are getting used to teach from the basic school. Elementary schools start looking. And the funny thing is, as we've seen in China, these children start teaching about the GANs and nanomaterials and plasma to their teachers. It's your job not to run discussion groups. It's your jobs who run these discussion groups and start writing simple books for children that the generation coming up does not need to go through the ignorance that when they get to university, they're all taught the same rubbish again, and then they have to re-rubbish themselves with the new rubbish which we put out. They understand the process from the beginning. The thought groups which is around the Keshe Foundation, instead of wasting your time in discussing, start writing new books for children. Start explaining and publish it. We support you. Start writing manuals in how children can understand the simplicity of the change. You'll find out by the age of 10, 12, our children will be better plasma physicists than the PhDs of the plasma in CERN, because the CERN is still working with matter, hoping to find a plasma. Now, you all have the plasma, you call it the GANs, you've seen the energy release, and you can collect the energy from it to go through the transition. It's the responsibility of all the Keshe Foundations around the world to start writing simple pamphlets, teaching platform for children. Not waiting to come to here to learn or attend these teachings. Start distributing the knowledge at a point. We have come to an agreement, and within the next few days, Keshe Foundation, in conjunction with the Guardian Space Institute, will run a live teaching. They'll be sitting in all our teachings. We set up the link today, tomorrow. So we start teaching the scientists in Ghana in a, what do you call it? Teachings to the scientists in the space and energy level already. Yesterday, I had a live meeting with them. It was very strange. They talk about it. There's a doctor. He wants the help from the foundation technology because of his stroke. The other doctors wants the help with the cancer. And they say, how do we know it's there? And then they put a camera on the floor. They're already making CO2 and gases on the floor in the corner of their own lab. This is the problem. Accepting, working it, seeing it. All what we see from African nations, as I said, if you've been on talks, I received a call from one of the world leaders to be, is the next president of one of the African nations. He will be because of his position. He's a close friend, a good friend of mine. And he says to me, can you give me the power unit so that I can use it to give it to my nation that proves me to be the next president? So people have already started knowing the knowledge, trying to use it to gain position. So unfortunately, We have to give that opportunity of position to our children. We have written books in a complicated language. Now start making leaflets, pamphlets, teaching, media material for our children. Otherwise, we have failed them. Because the children who now get taught in the structure of the matter and everything which is now, with all the wrong assumptions which now we know is wrong, then we have to change their mind and waste their time when they're 18, 20 in the universities. All the Keshe Foundations, anybody who understands the work of the nanomaterial, the work of the GANs, the work of the plasma, start writing, start teaching in a simple language. You have the art of drawing, draw it. Open channels for people, schools that they can come and tap onto and take a single language that people can understand. The peoples in the schools are fresh mind. If we put the wrong things in them, then because they have accepted it, it'll be very hard to reverse it, as a lot of you know. Because then they say, how stupid was I to accept it? I wasn't stupid, so I stick to what I've accepted already. Then you have a problem. Show the beauty of how a simple system like the pen can remove a pain. Then they believe in it. Go to the schools, go to everywhere you can, and leave a pen. Make one pen, the coil a week, and leave it in one place. We have millions of supporters. The whole world will understand the work of the plasma because they feel it. When you have a pain and you put it, then if you raise the curiosity of one child to add to the knowledge of man in space in the future, as I say, we have served our purpose. It's not coming here every day and learning about the guns and the materials and how they work. We carry on. But here we speak according to the understanding of the people who come out. They start spending, put 1 hour a week, right? Simple leaflets, simple pamphlets, simple illustrations for children in your own language. Then we have no problem. Because the children we don't teach the right way now, they become the burden of the society. And when it comes, they get to maturity, they reach this point, they step that way. And we know the destiny of man on this platform is very much limited by the rise of the second sun. So you are responsible. There we are. It's a birthday of a child.
Is there a noise going on there? I'm looking for
There's a birthday, Italian birthday. Excuse me. Voila. We are teaching. You want the cake, you can come and share it with us. But the noise is yours. They have a birthday cake. I said, you can bring the cake for us. The noise you keep. They jumped all in one left. I don't know how they got 15, 20.
Somebody call the lift operator now so they can get them.
There is no lift operator. We can just unplug the main. They have a beautiful party for a few hours in the lift. So, understand where we have to go. We are teaching, we are giving the technology to their ambassadors. But the ambassadors on this planet are the children. We have to teach, we have to convert the technology. All this rubbish which goes around the internet, the amount of energy which is wasted has to be directed to one thing. Teaching, producing, presenting, going out and doing, because even if you do it in one school in 1 year and one child come to accept, when it comes in next time he hears about the GANs and the rest, then they can make the change for themselves and their family if they're in pain. I received a very funny information. If you knew so much how to reverse cancer for so long, why didn't you teach it? As I explained on Tuesday. It's not my responsibility, it's yours, because if you don't understand it, you haven't understood up to now, why should I do in a way that then we want to act against us to give them another weapon? And this is where it stops. From now on, you are responsible, not me. You have the total knowledge. Expand it and teach it. Instead of fighting each other, going around and poaching each other from different chat rooms, insulting each other, if you understood it and you don't do, you're a bigger criminal than the murderers, because the knowledge you can share can save a life. When you don't do it, it's your problem. I share knowledge. It's you it and not to abuse it. It's very, very simple. We got to the point now, especially after the 16th, that we release the energy unit that the Keshe Foundation, the Spaceship Institute, all the people who are around Keshe Foundation, we can change the course of humanity. Two reasons. First of all, the knowledge and the units which goes with it can take a lot of people out of a lot of pain and problems. I know families who budget themselves how much heating is done and how the rest of the children have to be on the blanket because the electricity bill is too high. They can't afford paying. I know people in the most advanced nations here in Europe, in Belgium. We sat with Caroline, we know them, they are our neighbors, where the father and mother eats food at night, even if it's chips, the children have to have the bread because they had a hot lunch in the school, the family can't afford it. Because the heating and the electricity and the bill of the cars for the fuel has to be met. Now we give the freedom. The child can have food with the mother because now there is no bill to pay for electricity for lunch. This is how we touch the environment and the communities. This is where the effect will come. Where to simple system. We give every cent which comes free as a donation or whatever to the foundation, assistance to a family where the child can have a hot food with the mother, does not need to sit to watch and have a bread because he already had and the government paid for it. The poverty in Europe is worse than Africa, but it's all well covered. We've seen it in America when the disaster hit New Orleans. We found out New Orleans was worse than slums of Africa. People have nothing to eat. So don't get fooled. As I said, if a disaster happens, Africans will live because they know how to cultivate what they receive. In the West, the electricity goes, the freezer goes, everybody is on the street hungry. At least with being able to teach them how to use guns and the energy of the guns, you can allow people in the West to have the charity of life without hunger. This is where it's going to boil to. In the coming months, you will see. Look at how the oil went to $100, $130, $120, $140. People couldn't afford. They dropped it back to 30, 40. You never understood what happened? They are not generous. There wasn't that they were going to make money. They found out the consumption got to a maximum, nobody's affording. The industry stopped. The people can't use electricity in the industry to manufacture. Unemployment came back to $30, $40. They didn't do it because they love you. They did it because they couldn't do anything with it. Because if you don't buy the, what you call fuel on the street, there is no oil industry. I explained to you, I used to be in the oil business. I know exactly what I'm talking about. If we don't sell what you buy in a petrol station as a fuel, we can't make millions in refining. We sell the rubbish, you still want it. Now, we don't want the rubbish anymore because now, with the new units you receive, you can save up to 70% in your fuel cost. So when you save, there is a reduction in application. The fuel will drop to about $10 to $15 per barrel in the coming months. Don't forget, we are not giving you a plasma unit energy. We are giving the governments and the manufacturers the blueprint. We are not taking exclusivity. We say produce as much as you can. Because with this, we change the present structure of economy, which has been unjust. And this is where the beauty comes. In the coming months, when you can use the system in a very simple way, you'll find out it's amazing result. Fuel will give you, the petrol stations will pay you to tank. Because it happened, it will happen again. It's happened in the past couple of times. They pay you to take the fuel because without the fuel, they cannot make another 20, 40,000 byproducts. You clock the system. You thought up to now you need the fuel organizations or petroleum. You don't know how much they fooled you. They needed you to clean the rubbish out that they could make money with the rest. To be in refining, I know what it means. I made an empire out of petroleum. Without us giving you the rubbish, we cannot make money. And some of the refining people don't even have a clue what they're refining. Understand how much to move the rubbish. And now, with us putting this unit back in the market, you'll find out refineries will close one after another once it goes to mass production. The refining oil comes from the residual of what Mr. Cohen sunk into the bottom. When it's liquid condition, you've seen it on top of your box, CO2 box, this oil. It sticks to everything we did. Gold, platinum, anything you like. When we refine, we look for this. We don't need it, but to refine it, to get to this, to make other things.
Just hold on a second.
Pardon?
We're having some bandwidth issues or some problem there. The videos.
Yeah, because when I move to the side of the board.
No, it's a
bandwidth issue.
Bandwidth there. We're not getting.
Yeah, it's a Thursday again. We see it. We know that. What computer? The screen.
Now we have two computers on the same.
No, we know they jam it. They try to load. If you see it that way, switch it off. We don't need a screen. Okay, switch it off. We don't need the thing because we already see it. They don't see the board. Okay. So what we see,
just till the bandwidth picks back up, and then we can turn it back on. I'll let you know, Marco.
Actually, it's very good. It's very, very good because on looking at the board, I get distracted with what people write. So it's good. It has a benefit. It's just for me to remember if I'm on the screen or off the screen. Line there follow. So this is what you got to understand. Without you to buy the oil, there is no oil industry. Now, with us putting the plasma into the reach of every man, we already killed the industry. It's just a matter of time. As I said last night, I was with somebody, I said, do you know what they're going to do? The governments now are going to tax individuals. To live, you have to pay. This is the next step. Now, you're not using any energy, you're not using any water, you're not using anything, and I still want to be called the president to take 10 million a year home, so you have to pay for it. Then it comes the question, do we need leaders? I would like to have a 10 million too. So you and everybody else. You will see the effect of this technology is so profound, it will change the structure of the society, the way we live. I don't need to live in city center. I live in the jungle. I live in middle of the bushes. I have everything I want. We have worked, being enslaved because of the energy and food. Now we have the energy free, how to transfer the energy as a plasma in a universal condition into energy of what you need to live. You don't need a banana. You receive the energy, that's all it is. You'll find out in coming time, when you have one of these units at home, in the morning, you take the energy of a banana, in the afternoon of the meat, because you need the protein of the meat. All you need to do is create a transmitter for plasma. If you create a transmitter for plasma, a spectrum of it, then you can have whatever you like anytime you like, as you need it. A cell needs a protein, it absorbs it. A cell needs a banana energy of a calcium or potassium of it, it absorbs it. It's very much making the, what do you call it, telephone masks, or the mask for the mobile phone. You transmit in every frequency, everybody receives, all of you carry the same telephone, but different numbers of different strength, and the mask finds you. It's the same with the cells of your body and the plasma. The cell needs the energy, is transmitted, available, you take as you need. But the biggest problem with this is not that, is you find the healthcare will totally disappear. Unless you have an accident, like me falling in a swimming pool, you'll never go sick. Because you go sick when there is unbalance, when there is not energy enough, and you continuously receive it. The change, if I tell you step by step what's going to do, is going to shock you. And it's not a dream, because if you want, we can give you the units to go home today with. We are not waiting for them to be manufactured. We already manufacture. As I said at the beginning of these talks, we'll meet all our commitments of the delivery, but we wait for the 16th to get the nation with the public together on the move. The units are already produced, they already can be delivered. The problem is, from now on, how we are going to behave. The revolution has happened, it's gone. What you had is finished. Now we are in the phase of plasma. And you can all produce it. I have opened the gates, as I said last week, that there are no bills to pay. So start teaching it, start using it, start understanding it, and with it bring unity, not division. Because if you do, then you're back in the same, as we say, schmuck in Jewish language. And in English language it says, you're all in the same mess. That's before. But in a very clean language. You created a mess through different application of the matter. Now you have the source and change it. Set up organizations, set up as many chat rooms as you can in every direction and work, but progress people very rapidly into plasma. If they don't understand your language, send them to somewhere they do. We work all for the same target. Do not go and pick people up and tell them the other are worse. Let it be, the ones who do this are the worst. We've seen people who go poach, and if young people don't go, they jam their computers, they destroy their computers and laptops. These are not human, these are animals on the cloth of humanity, because they think they've got a chapter. These are terrorist activities extended as been carried for 10 years. So understand, set up as many chat rooms, as many lines of communication, as many teachings, pamphlets, leaflets that people can go to and become part of the structure. That with it, let them know that the freedom of the man has come. It's them who decide to be in prison of this planet, or they want to go further on. This is what the job of Keshe Foundation is from now on. We don't teach you anymore how to make GANs. There are very few limited you can do. We don't teach you how to make nanomaterial. There are very limited way to do. And now you understand the totality of the concept. You have to give the matter enough energy to separate that atomic. You have to give it enough energy to become loose. How much more do you want to elaborate on this? What else you want to do? Unless you're ignorant to your own existence. Because now you have the freedom of the plasma. This is where we're going to see a lot of development, a lot of new changes, a new way of using the plasma. We've seen our friends how, with a simple understanding of interaction of the GANs and nano layers, created the pen, which releases a lot of you from a lot of pain. That's a concentration of the release of the plasma. That's all it does. When I taught this into the group, where we were developing different things, it was unique to bring it out. So now it's out. There are other entities, discussions, and materials which are to come from the different groups we work with. You can put it back on again. We can get disrupted. By the way, Vince, I saw Kevin Davina online. You can get the information from him.
Okay, hopefully he's still there.
Oh, I don't know. I hope he's there. Just ask him, he can give you the list. So now you see we haven't changed the course, we have elevated the knowledge. It's you who has to decide where they're going to sit and understand and go to as many chat rooms. Don't get isolated, don't get bribed, don't think you're happy with one place. Go to as many chat rooms, sit as many places to gain as much knowledge as possible that you can share more. We collected a group of people, we keep the knowledge.
Well,
You or individuals can be used as a weapon and can be lethal. So we are controlling the information release that it cannot be abused. We are not actually controlling it, we are still teaching it, but are limiting it to a certain numbers of people. It is done. If community of the World Keshe Foundation come to it, we expand on it. You've seen it many times. When somebody brings somebody up, we show them we had it before. It's already there. So it has to become part of the life of the Keshe Foundation, members or supporters or whatever you like. By end of this month, in next 30 days, today we are 1st of October, by 30th of October, after the 16th, we should be able totally, as a Keshe Foundation member, to change the life of at least 10% of the world population in respect to energy, into respect food, and everything else. And by the end of this year, we should be able to reach at least 1/3 of world population with the knowledge and know-how, or at least not know-how, but the way to use it. I'll explain to you an extension. Let me wash my hand, but I'll speak as I wash my hand. One of the things, the way you rely on the application of these power units is that you connect yourself to a power supply to use not the power of it, but the extension of the frequency of the electricity. You create a frequency change, you don't need much more. Now you can use your systems. So let's see what happens. In Africa, there is a lot of wires. All the houses are connected, but there is no electricity. We only need a signal. So in Africa, you can run a single generator, 1 kilowatt generator for AC in the center of the town and connect a system to it. So anybody, anywhere who adds their system already receives the whole energy from the plasma. So 1 liter of fuel a day to create a signal in somewhere in Africa with the wires connected, which most of them have in the cities, but they have no electricity, they're going dark. All of them, by putting 1 unit, plasma unit in their houses, have the supply. Because you don't need the energy, you need the impulse to trigger the plasma to release its energy. Do you need to run, let's say, 0.5 megawatt power station, borrow money from the central banks and the World Bank to create a signal? Or with a single generator at 1 liter an hour will do the same job? This is where the change is coming. But the new generation of the power supplies will become generators, will oversee that as well. We are developing it. We are developing special plasma generators. That does not need that as well, but it needs maybe in the 2-3 weeks we should be there. Now you see the change. Does Italy need to spend millions every day to bring fuel in, to have signal generators? Or they can burn very little, use the present sources, just keep the present power lines at 50 hertz. And nobody uses power, but everything is there for everybody to use. This is a change of game. Countries like Italy, who are 80–90% energy dependent, they found a way out of it. It'll cost Italy no more money to import any fuel for electricity power production. And if, as I said in the last talk, anything which is non-resistive, you're 100% free. Lighting, fridge, freezers, whatever else you use. If you have a resistive like a heater, you save 60%. And now we're reducing that to as much as 100% very soon. So if you're paying, let's say, 200 euro per month electricity, your bill should be around in the summertime more or less 0, winter time maybe 10 to 20 euros. And even that will be eradicated. That, even if we say 40 euro, there is 160 euro per month to feed a child. If you save, let's say, 70% on your fuel consumption, even 50% on fuel consumption, and you spend, let's say, 50 euro per month, that's 25 euro in. You can spend. The changes for national saving is so huge that is beyond imagination for the Western world. If you manage to do the conversion of the water into energy that you can drink from it, for you it's acceptable, you've eaten something, you'll find out most probably your real full, or what you call, food bill will drop between 50 to 80%. You just eat what is nice to eat. You don't eat because you're hungry anymore. We're trying to book hotels in center of Rome for the event. 10 years ago, we used to pay 80 to to 100 euro for first classroom. Today, they speak about 500 minimum. Where has that imaginary money come from? From the thieves who rob the others and they can afford paying it. I heard something very funny yesterday, but I said, how can we pay 600, 500 euro per room? And they said, you know, Rome, there's a lot of money made in Vatican. They're all busy at it. Because they are the only people who can make it because it comes free. So, do we need to push to that limit? Do we need to go into this extent to put these things on the plate? Our job is very simple. How to transfer plasma energy to food, to energy, to even warmth. And if you understood the work of the George Washington University, and a lot of you have done it yourself, even now you're getting to the step that you can produce materials. You can use nanomaterials in a specific way. The guns you make, use it in a specific way that you do not feel cold at all in the house in winter. We are now looking at production of what we call plasma DC heating plates. Because when it's a plasma and it's a DC, it's not resistive. So your bill goes totally zero. You use plasma in plasma. So it's a filtering we are developing that you only work through DC plasma with a DC plate. The change from next 2 weeks and the way the knowledge is distributed unconditionally, freely, is so huge. Make sure, if you want, you are in Rome for the 16th. Make sure you're in center of Rome, and make sure some of you are in Rome airport, because we distribute units that it goes across the planet. And the best place to do it is at the airports. Have a gift for your nation. In Rome, if you come from anywhere around the world, if you fall within the category of people who are there by the hotel where the conference is held, you might get a free unit. Open the box, open the blueprint, and run as fast as you can to produce more, because Keshe Foundation Manufacturing, maximum we can produce at the top 1 million a month. This means we need 5 years to give one to each family in this country, which is about 70 million people, comparing the cars and the houses and the rest. So run as fast as you can, once you get the unit and the blueprint in it, to produce as many as you can. Because then, instead of having 5 years to supply Italy, we have 5 months. Then we can do another thing. No technology, no inventor ever has released technology like this. Please copy me as fast as you can. Because this is a freedom of space. If you start seeing this, I can save more of you to take into space. Game is very easy. So understand, nothing has changed. It's just you who have to understand more of what is to come, what is your freedom. It's you who is imprisoning yourself into this. And as I said, please, you are a Keshe Foundation members, don't need to print leaflets to give. Nowadays, everything is on communication line. Make simple explanation for children, make simple cartoons, and paste it across the internet. And make sure you don't go to chat rooms where they're handed or headed by pedophiles and attach themselves to the knowledge of GANs or a plasma. This is your pitfall, because they sit for you to catch. They sit for your children to catch. Avoid these kind of websites. We have released enough information that it should be enough free to teach in the media of the, even the adults. Adults need a lot of teaching. What it is, what they can do. If an adult, you explain to them what nanomaterial is and they say we don't understand, tell them, do you clean your toilet ever? Have you ever, your toilet been blocked? Have you ever had a time that you can't get the pipes working? What do? I put a caustic in it. That's it. You already made it. You're a nanomaterial engineer, but you didn't know. So they see it, they understand it. Make it simple enough that it can be digested. So if you're a housewife, you're already a nano specialist anyway, because you've done enough unblocking of the toilets and the systems around the house with caustic. So we come to this, now we understand it, what is a plasma? What does a plasma do to us? What does plasma and how does the plasma work? Why would it make a difference in our lives in such a fundamental way? I have a little thing, if you don't see it, I'll show you. These are little magnets we always have around us here. You see it in my hand. These magnets are the shape of a plasma. They're ring, they're hollow. The main field forces sits in the center where it's hollow, not where it materializes as a matter. These rings, if I can put them up there, and you cannot see it, but if you hang it, these rings, magnet rings you are used to, are like this. This is the matter state. And this is the center. As you have seen in your cores, see-through plastic cores, you had the GANs, you had the water, and a free ring here. This free ring was the center of the principal energy that everything comes in and everything is pushed out, central gravitation. So you see the similarity. Here we use in these magnets a ring which is hollow. You as nanoplasma people
We seem to be having a bandwidth issue, I believe. Are other people having trouble with the video? Or is it just me?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Well, I think we'll just have to be patient and see if it kicks back in here.
I also lost connection.
I don't know if you can hear me, Mr. Keshe, but we lost the connection. Yeah, it just disappeared altogether. Okay. Whoops. Coming back in.
bandwidth problem?
Hello, hello. Come in, Spaceship Institute.
We are there. We are coming in.
Yeah, we lost you briefly there. There's definitely a bandwidth issue today. It's kind of
Yeah, every Thursday is the whole week we don't have. Every Thursday morning we have. Maybe too many bandits are busy with banding. Javier is not there. Yeah, we are back. Yeah.
Yep, it seems good now. Thank you.
Okay. So what we see is that the repetition. And if you look at the other dimension of the whole thing, in the universal condition, you have your free plasma or empty of high altitude, high strength fields in the center too. So the reason I use ring magnets because it has too much similarity in the work of the universe. When you have these magnets, you have the north or the exit of the fields, and you have the south, the entry of the fields. When you have your cores, you should have seen the same. That's how the free plasma from them becomes the release and collection of the free plasma in the star formation. You know it's there, and you know this is what is released. This is your free plasma. It comes from those. You've seen in your GANs, the same happens. You've seen it with Earth, the same. North Pole, South Pole. And the same is with our universe. Our universe does not take everything in, it gives. Thank you very much. Who's that one? Is Canada that cold?
No, let me see who it is here, Mr. K. I have to, I have to mute all.
Who is it? Utah.
No, I have to mute everyone. Somehow everyone became unmuted.
I hope, as I said this morning, can you hear me?
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Okay, now I have to unmute you.
I said, I hope you mute them, not mute them. We don't have that facility yet. So, you understand that the process between your magnet, your core, your transparent core, your GANs, and universe is the same. So, start to work in the universal condition, the plasma of the universe should not be that difficult because you already know it in the other dimensions. Its only thing is that with this universal condition, you have a bigger room to play with more bits. Here, in a magnet, the sphere of the forces, field forces of the matter state is as far as the magnet can go. Here, it has hardly any effect. Here, a little, it can absorb. So, the strength is more or less the size of the hand. Here, the field strength, because of its containment, is the size of the universe. It's just the size changes. So, there should be no fear in using a plasma or understanding the work of a magnet, a spherical magnet. Now, how do we interact, and do they interact? Some of you have seen this interaction between the two, but you do not realize it. Here is the strength of the matter, which we dictated as iron. Here, the filter is the containment of the core, When you use a copper coil, you have dictated a filter condition. When you put a ceramic, you have dictated a condition. Somebody was to be neutered or muted. It says mute me. So
yeah, she's not on the, she is not part of the ones that are, she's a viewer, so she doesn't have a microphone right now, actually.
okay, I don't know who she is.
Who's all the other ones that were the problem?
I hope you muted them. So the cause here is a copper. In here, with the GANs, the boundary is the environmental gravitational magnetic field of the Earth in conjunction with the gravitational magnetic field of the solar system. Here, the conversion is only the universal condition and the unicos. Because even though you have the universal field, the unicos, the totality, dictates the condition as part of it. If the pressure of the unicos was stronger and there was no room for our universe to grow in, what would you have? Would have been a universe, for example, this size. So this condition creates different parameters than this condition. We see this in the solar system. In the solar system, if the sun has or manages through its environmental condition of the galaxy have a big plasma, the fields has enough time to interact with each other to reduce that they can lead to creation of the planet. If the dimension of the plasma is too small, there is not enough time for the fields to reduce to create planetary system. That's why we see planetary system on the extremities of the galaxies. Because in that point on the extremities, the pressure is low enough that the fields can travel long enough in the confinement of the galaxial forces that they can create a slower, weaker gravitational magnetic field, a strength that leads to creation of planetary system. So it's the same with the universe. There is no difference. In our universe, at this moment of time, we are on the fringes of the one and all galaxies. And this fringement in the fringes, and then on top of this, we are on the fringes of the one of the part of this galaxy. So we are fringed and fringed and fringed, and then we are on the solar system, which is on the fringe itself. So because it's weak, it allows the solar system enough that planetary system can be produced, and out of that, slowing down, that the planetary system can be reduced. Now our Earth in this solar system has created another reduction in the strength that can lead to the creation of man. So we are a subdivision of the subdivision of the subdivision of many, many subdivisions in millions of terms, and we are a freak accident of the universe. Nothing planned, and it's just the way it has happened to be. I received a text today from Brad. It says there's going to be another, what do you call it, drastic air condition over Florida. The hurricanes are coming. So we are one of those hurricanes. Too many things have flown, the dust has come up, we are the result. Nobody sat down and planned from the time when the first plasmatic gravitational magnetic field left the center line, oh, we're going to have a human in this corner. And if that happened, now you know there are many galaxies on the fringes of this universe, and there are many fringes of fringes. So human race is not alone. We are part of the soup of the universal soup. And the only thing is, up to now, we've been in our little village, happy. We went a bit further. We conquered continents over thousands of years. Now it's time to see if we can hop enough to jump off the barrier of the continent into the solar system existence and then into universal. Then we start seeing the rest of the friends, knowing that we all came from the same center. So what is hard about this is the state of mind, in the intelligence of understanding. Would you like to stay in a village, or as nowadays the parents stay in the village and the youngsters, which have got a bit more courage, they go and start a city life. And as they go to the city, they know someone, usually stop in the slums, and then they build their way, they become engineers, and then they become house owners and the rest. They get themselves to a point and then bring them parents back from the slums of the village to the cities. And then would we do the same with our own race? Would part of us will go to excursions of space, find the rest of the family and other villages and towns in the universe, and then come back to Earth and say, I found something very nice. It's like we go around the world to see sightseeing, we go universal seeing in the coming time. So, what's the difference in what man has already done? We started from a seed somewhere in Central Africa. Over thousands of years, we made ourselves up the east coast of Africa. We crossed the Persian Gulf. We spread ourselves in different directions to the northern hemisphere, and then across to China, to Europe, and then the same over the North Pole to the other side, to American continent, but we're all the same family. Now, through, not by blood of the gravitational magnetic field of Mr. Cohen, but by the interaction of the fields of the universe, we'll find other races and other families. But in essence, we are all made of plasma. They are no different. It just depends how their package of plasma is compacted compared to us. So there is no fear from now on to go into universe, because we know the consequences of it. As we did in crossing different oceans and mountains, we lost some, we got some lost. The same will happen to us in the space. We know that. That's part of the adventures of going up. And the ones who want to stay in the matter and the nano and the gans matter and the rest, they still meet the same consequences. We haven't seen a man who lives more than 100 years and is still functional. Very few. But this time, with the space, with the freedom of transfer of energy, we see man to live in thousands of years. But at the end, there is a demise. There is an end. There is a conversion point. Are we fighting to delay the conversion point from 10 years to 50 years or 100 to meet it with more problems? Or are we going into space on the same basis? Now, you've seen how two magnets, when you put together, find their position. How you put two cores next to each other, create a field which they don't interact, but they release energy together. You've seen how the ganses, when you release together in a core, play the same game. You can do the same in the space. But you have no tangibility. You have a pure freedom of the plasma in the universe. You've seen how when you put two magnets together, the separation. So comes your distance from one point of galaxy to the other. You change your fields, you separate, you match your fields, you get attracted in the magnetic gravitational field of the others. So the space travel is easier than car drive. There are no traffic jams, and there are no mountains and no red lights, which the Italians don't like. He laughs. We got to watch him when he drives. Does he stop at the red light till he changes, or is one of those Italians says, oh, it's not red enough yet? Or it's been too long red for 2 seconds. So this is the way we are planning to go. This is the way from the beginning of the teaching of this term, we start only speaking about plasma. Because more or less, we have seen all the restriction with this. This has brought us nothing but war, conflict, limitation, and the rest of it. So when you wipe out this out and you join a plasma condition in the universe, you find out there is no limitation. How do we move? Where do we move? How do we create interaction? A plasma on its own has the ability of twofold: to give and to take. And nowhere, anywhere in its inner structure changes. As we know, we say on Earth, where is the point of change of North Pole or South Pole to North Pole? There is no change. It's the same field it carries through. But in the process, it absorbs what is left, but the other residual interaction of the same. So here it goes at 1, here it comes at 1.1, because it's collected something in. Now, this 1.1 is needed for it to come back as 1 most of the time. So the 0.1 is lost in interaction with other fields. And then at the same time, in another part of the universe, you have another entity which happen to have more or less the same strength. All you do, you become now the entry of this, where in fact it cannot be a one-way system. I feed you, you feed me, you become part of the other. So now you decide how far this distance between the two is, how much is the strength needed to follow the same path. You want to reject from this planet, you take this strength and follow, that's where you end you up. You want to be attracted, you do the same in reverse. Very simple. There is no rocket propulsion, there is no jet propulsion, we don't need clothing and astronauts and the rest of it and 7 years of training in the swimming pool tanks. Because when you have a combination of gravitational and magnetic field in a constant rate, you always live in your own atmospheric condition, which means the freedom of movement. So in the space technology of a coming time, all of us, the way on the 16th become the possessors of the new plasma units, the same speed, we all become the passengers of the spaceships. Because we walk into the nature and natural condition which we know. So the space will not be exclusivity of a few, but at the reach of every man. If you know how to handle, how to organize, how to put together your free plasma condition systems, and you can configure it the right way, you all can have and build your own spaceships in no time. Absolutely no time. So the change which comes from this 1st of October on, it'll be the biggest industrial revolution in the history of man, but this time not held or controlled by a few, but is taught and it will be carried out by a lot of people, by a large number. Because now every single system which is released, if it is used and connected, you all can develop flight systems using the same power unit. Do not forget that this power unit releases plasmatic magnetic gravitational field plasma. You can use it instead of where you had the cores, you can use it to create plasma condition in holding. That it gives you the star formation you need for your flight. And if you're very clever, as I've said in the teachings of this week, there is unlimited amount of energy within the power unit you receive. Use it in a matter state, you have a limitation. Use it in a plasmatic condition, you have no limitation. And then if one of you can manage to master the next step of transition of the plasmatic condition to a stronger plasma condition, there we are, the birthday children are back again. So this plasma itself, due to condition of this planet, will split into star formation, which you have control over to build your own house, to build on your own spaceship, to build a shelter for your family. This unit, the energy unit, is a fantastic unit once you understand its power of it. The birthday children again.
It's not the right one. I need access to the. I need access to the unit.
What blue unit? No. You mean the power unit? It's Caroline. It's in. No, I've got to be there because I want it to be done in a certain way. Just give me a couple of hours. Yeah, we gotta wait. Just wait a bit. Because it's got to be done in a different way. So what happens is these blue units, as he's asking for it to show pictures of it, these power units are the source of everything you need. It's you who got to translate it. It's you who's got to build a structure in a plasmatic condition, not a matter condition, to transfer the energy to what you need. Because once you transfer them into matter state, you have a problem. Then you cannot go into the plasma condition. If you want to create a flat plate, you create it in a plasmatic energy. That means it gives you the strength and the field of a platform, but in fact is nothing but field. It's not matter. It's a big difference. Your bone is plasmatic entity, not matter strength entity. Your flesh, your blood is plasmatic entity, is not matter entity. Even though you feel it, because the interaction of the fields gives you that feeling. Then, as you change, as we said before, it changes constantly. Iron stays iron, and then in different strength it gets dissolved. But when you create a plasmatic entity, according to its environment, it evolves to the strength it's supposed to do. That's the difference. Then you guarantee the survival in the space. Any questions?
Hi, Mr. Keshe. I'll check on the questions here. Well, someone's asking, please best, excuse me, please best method for nano coating and time. It's pretty general though. Yeah, Salama Sayed Medina asks, best method, please, best method, nano coating and time. Not a very distinct question. So
Nano coating and time?
he wants to know the best method for nano coating and I guess how long that takes.
Oh, we have the expert here. Would you like to talk? Armin is sitting, I'll give you the microphone. I get the rest. We have our specialist in nano coating. We have a little battery. We tap it as usual. It's working. This gives me time to rest. Would you like a coffee? Carry on.
Best nano coating, it's of plasma.
About mine. Yeah, no. How you best nano coat materials?
Caustic.
No, you explain. I'm a student.
We have a video even posted for that. It's a caustic process. You just lay your material and into the box.
Explain, because I had somebody else asking me yesterday. Your video is not good enough. You got to do it better.
And you have to show it, maybe.
Sorry, the pen is yours. I'm switching off. When you finish, wake me up.
By the way, Rick, I think the question was in a different direction. Mr. Keshe mentioned that the nano coating has longer life than the, let's say, CO2 guns, and maybe the question is in that direction.
What direction?
Mr. Keshe mentioned that nano coating has bigger lifespan versus, let's say, the CO2 guns. The different ways of creating energy. So maybe that's the direction of the question.
Well, he's asking what's the best method for nano coating and time.
Yes, how long the time span of the nano coating is for different procedures, maybe something like that.
Time is, if you leave your plate in a caustic condition, actually the nano coating is ongoing. You already started the process. So if you keep it a year, 2, 3, it will be, the layers will be thicker and thicker. And in time, the matter, which it's copper, it will just disappear. It will be pure nano-coated material if you keep it long enough. Because when you release the first layer, first 2 layers, so the process is ongoing. It's always going to release it from bottom to up. The process is very simple. If you're asking how to nano-coat the material, you just put your sheet and put some caustic and hot water and close your container and leave it, day or 2, and then take it out and just in the same condition, a little bit caustic under it, you can just dry it. And that's all. There is no, we have to understand that, if we leave it in a caustic condition and not open the box, the process ongoing again. Because you release first 2 layers already, so the process is from inside to out.
Okay, I've unmuted, or I've made Salma a panelist if he wants to unmute there to talk about it if desired. I can unmute him and if he wants to talk about it. Hello, Salma.
Hello.
Hi. Do you have a question you'd like to say specifically about that?
Yeah, because all my caustic using fire all become flaky, powdery, and brittle. That's why, if you can advise me, please.
One more time. Fire, you using fire to nano-coat?
Yes, fire and caustic, cold and hot. But it turned out powdery, brittle, and flaky.
What are you trying to nano-coat?
Copper.
Copper plate?
Copper wire and plate.
Okay.
Copper wire and what?
And
plate.
Okay. So what is the question now? It becomes what?
Yeah. Powdery, flaky, and brittle.
Powdery, flaky, and brittle for the coating instead of
Correct.
something solid and. But some
How
coatings.
you do your process? I cannot understand the process that you do.
I use both hot and cold.
Okay.
So it turned out that way.
So you use a different process so you get a different result.
Yeah, which process?
Who? Pardon me?
Which process am I supposed to use?
You can use both processes, cold or hot.
Yeah, but both result the same. Powdery, flaky, and brittle.
Truly,
Okay.
I cannot understand your question.
No, so he's saying that with either process, it works out it's powdery, flaky, and brittle, and he's expecting a different result somehow. Like, yeah, I guess you want a shiny nano coating, or what's wrong with the flaky nano coating?
Yeah, I can use it on the second time. I cannot use it. And just like your CO2 kit, it doesn't work anymore after the first time.
Because your layers are too thin. You didn't let it to, the process to go a little bit longer, so you will have layer.
Like
so
how long did you put it inside the container with just a small amount of caustic in the bottom, just using the vapors to coat it?
7 days.
Okay. So
we had the CO2 box and a Marco nose. We produced it more than half a year, and you know, if we didn't stop the process, actually, it will go until now. So
Yeah,
all
but
our nano coating, we use probably 3-4 months, maybe more. So we keep
yeah,
collecting it.
I will keep trying again, and I will wait for Mr. Keshe plasmatic nano coating.
When you have already create actually your power boxes, so if you pass the plasma through any wire or any material, it will already nano coat. That's the point. When we had the unit and me and Marco one time, we opened the wire, we saw all black. Because when you're
Yes,
passing the plasma field through the wires, and in time it becomes all black.
yes, correct. But it doesn't last. The thing is that it doesn't last.
Nothing lasts forever.
what are you doing with your wires, or what are you doing with your plate or whatever? Do you put it in a salt solution to create GANs, for example? Is that what you mean, it doesn't last?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
After that,
what is the percent salt in your salt solution?
about 10 to 15.
Okay, that should be about right, eh, Armin? Or maybe a bit less, or what?
No, actually,
That's about right.
I don't know what kind of copper you're using, but if we set up a CO2 kit, we're collecting more than 4 or 5 months each box.
I tell you, I will tell you the truth. My CO2 kit doesn't work. It
Okay.
collect too little.
Your CO2 kit, you made it or you bought it from China?
Sorry. I ordered it from Keshe Foundation.
You know, the kit that you ordered, you know, the plates are very thin.
Correct.
And if you change your plates a little bit thicker, so you can have a longer lifetime.
Correct. I'm using thick plates now. Very thick.
What is it?
I'm using very thick plate now.
Okay, well, that might be the issue with the nano coating, is with the thick plates, it's harder to get the heat up. Isn't that right, Armin?
It's we use 1 millimeter plates always.
Yeah, mine is much more thicker than the CO2 kits.
How many
Double
millimeters would it be, do you think?
the CO2 kits.
1 millimeter is the usual best thickness.
Yeah.
The thing is, you have to look at the salt content of the water. Then you have to look at the connection between the two plates. If you use thicker plates, it's always better to put like a small light or resistor between the wiring between the two plates. There are little touches you need to do with different units according to the environment you make. If you make it in a cold air condition, it's less it's slower. If you do it in a 20 to 25 degrees, it's much faster, and it's got all the parameters to it. But 1 millimeter is more or less the best. But if you don't get anything, you have to look at the wire connection. It means you haven't created the connection, or your salinity is too high or too low.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. I'm a big fan of yours. I'm still waiting for the plasmatic nano coating now.
It's very easy. You can do it yourself.
Yeah.
The plasmatic
Okay.
nano coating, we find more higher conductivity and transfer of information and energy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Where are you going, Arman? You're there. Have a rest. Okay, what's the next question?
Yeah, let me see what we have here. Renan says he can answer actually, so maybe we could hear from him.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Mr. Keshe, I have a question about the flooring that you were talking about in the spaceship, about it being fields.
Is that Sunday?
Yes, it is. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. What are you doing so early in the morning?
Oh, having fun listening to all this.
Is Bill not enough fun? I wonder.
We went there once. My question was, when you were talking about the fields, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, okay, so the fields would make themselves stronger, we'll say, as the fields of entities would be inside would contribute to it. But then I thought, well, can it be under the control of the environment, or does it have to stay under the control of an individual or a group who is more or less programming the ship? Or can it go on autopilot?
It's on both cases. Just because you are the passenger of the same fields doesn't mean they have control over. It's very much like satellites and planets in the solar system. You still have your individuality and you still have contribute towards the totality. Hijacking spaceships will be a very difficult job.
Well, that's good to know.
Oh, you're safe, no problem. How is Mr. Westinghouse?
Oh, he's doing quite well. We're here sitting here talking about what's going on.
Doing fine. We're carrying on our own little meetings here.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. How you doing?
I think if you concentrate or at least develop the technology in a way of understanding the plasma, you sooner or later or eventually will come to know how to amalgamate the fields that it gives you the power to do it. Those who still want to go through the contraption of reactors and the cores still can do so. Longer way, limited performance. But if you use the plasma in its totality, you can bring yourself to be cocooned in your own reactor or in your own system that you can find position in respect to others. We've seen this has been done before, it's nothing new, but in bringing it together to be part of building a structure separate and self-isolation, it's something which you have to do. In olden days, 100,000 of years ago, man was taught this and they used to do it. And the fun was to go from one dry land to another. And we see the creation of pyramids, part of that development of that time. But knowledge was kept to a few. Now the knowledge is spread amongst the men. So a lot of you who work in the plasma and in Ganser state, you'll find out if you put yourself and the energy of yourself within it, you can produce reactors and spaceships very easily, non-tangible, even it would be visible to you. If you want to understand the structure of the plasma cores you create to be visible but not really tangible in a condition of the environment of this planet, it's very much like the GANs. It's no difference between a GANs and a plasma cocoon which you create, you call it a spaceship. It has a boundary, but it's only by interaction of the fields. So between you and Bill and maybe a couple of boys, you can make your own spaceship.
Oh, we're working on it.
Oh, I gathered that. That's why you went back to see you could be first. Well, we already beaten you to it. But it's very silent.
Well, there we've been talking a lot to some of the other knowledge seekers about how to think about doing this this spaceship construction, and I think one of the things that came up was the fact: do we need to be in a certain position ourselves before, I mean, spiritually and emotionally, before we can have the correct effect to construct a spaceship? I mean, is there a purity of soul that's needed before we can take that leap to make it?
When you come to the point of developing such a thing, you already achieve peace within the soul. That's the beauty of it. This is what we were talking yesterday, is a detachment from physicality if you know how to make it. That was part of the teaching of yesterday. And,
yeah.
Here you are first the woman pilot, so we wait.
So there is the needing to have the understanding of the plasmatic essence of ourselves before we can properly understand how to construct our spaceship.
In a way. I have answered you, huh?
Yes, you have.
Now,
I'm getting used to those answers.
Yeah, because it makes you think, and thinking makes you wise.
There we go.
Wisdom brings you a spaceship. So you tell me. No, but it's the way I know. I don't know, but I understand the pattern of your thinking. But you have to realize, as part of achieving this, you have to become in balance with your environment too. That is, people around you. Don't forget, in a space travel, when you go, it's very much like you don't know if you come back. And you have to know that your soul has interactions and commitment to the other souls. You have to satisfy one of the biggest fulfillments of your life is to assure the souls of the people around you who depend or have connection to your soul that you're safe. You know what you're doing and you are in control of your life.
Well, I know some people were wondering about that.
Don't forget what they say, thou shalt not steal. So when you commit yourself and you have souls attached to you, which are there, they don't understand it. You take from their soul, so you have to have the agreement of. This is one of the criterions of what we call collective soul societies like Earth.
Oh, okay. So there's this essence of needing to take, or not needing, but almost responsibility to stay connected.
No, it's the responsibility that they will not take from them what they think is theirs. Love of the mother, love of the grandmother, or whatever you call it, love of a sister. It's a collective move. A lot of people will come to see how they build it. Would it be good if you are what do you call it, an orphan and you have nobody? Would you be able better person to build because you have no commitment to nobody? I don't think so. So it's a connection. You have to, what we say, you know, there is a path of worship, and a lot of people don't understand it. When you go for pilgrimage to wherever, Mecca or Jerusalem or whatever, you are supposed to make sure you have no debts and you don't bother no one to go, that you go with purity. And nowadays we see people go to the bank, they borrow from every friend and family to go to Mecca or to go for pilgrimage, which is totally the opposite way of what it was planned. That was meant of detachment. Because when you don't have debts to no one, you're not detached to go back to fulfill it. And people don't see it. This is part of the ethos of the universe. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. There was, well, Renan, do you want to say something? You were going to say something about the nanomaterials, I believe.
Yes, hello, Rick.
Hi, Renan.
Good afternoon.
Did you want to describe something about
Hi,
that?
Mr. Keshe. Just want to share my experience with about the nano coating. Maybe this can help. The steam nano coating is very effective, as I have been mass producing right now for the pens and also using the coils. So if it's possible for knowledge seekers, they can use a baby bottle steamer for them to steam it at least 3 to 4 times and let it dry for about a week. The nano coating is very, very good. They can start using the cold caustic first, spray the coppers with cold caustic and put some cold caustic on the steamer under electric steamer. I use electric steamer, and you can steam it for 3 to 5 times. It's very effective, and the nano coating that I have been producing is consistently shiny and also very fine and very thick. So I let them dry for 3 to 4 days, and after that, inside I open it and let it dry in air. So that may help in process from flaking and from being removed of or being so brittle. So most of the coils that I nano coat have a thick coating, and also you must put, instead of just caustic, I suggest to put potassium hydroxide, just a little, because to make a stronger nano coating. That's all. That's just my practice in nano coating. Thank you.
Thanks, Renan. That's some good hints here, I think.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay, what else we have here? Okay, here's a question. In order to create a stable plasma field condition, we still need some kind of reactor or plasma container. The power unit itself is a container or generator or amplifier. How do we then create free plasma condition without a reactor? Did you hear that, Mr. Keshe? Or you might have your microphone. Oh.
Repeat.
Okay. It says it's from Veselin Pavlov. In order to create stable plasma field condition, we still need some kind of reactor or plasma container. The power unit itself is a container or generator or amplifier. How do we then create a free plasma condition without reactor?
You have to understand how to cut the plasma. If you look at it at the end of the unit where you plug in into a water hose which is continuously flowing water. That's how the plasma comes from these units. You have to decide in how you collect it, and you have to decide at what rate you collect it. You want to put a matter entity on its path to collect it, to reduce it, to be containing it, or do you want to use a plasmatic containment? These are the things which we start teaching in the coming days, in the coming weeks. You are used to physical tangibility where you can create a magnetical containment or plasmatic containment. You can turn the plasma inside out to become a container of another plasma. This you do it in this, for example, different layers of the star. How do the layering begins? What is the process of layering? All you need is, in fact, creation of different directional motion in the plasma, which gives that resistance or containment. So you don't put the water in, just throw it away or throw it in the air. You contain it. So now you have to learn plasmatic containment the way stars contain each other, or the universes are plasmatic fields are contained. And the only way you can contain it is not by another reactor, matter state. You'll find out you won't succeed. Is by creating. I was teaching the basic of this yesterday to the students here. So you have to find or understand how plasmatic layering is considered and done, where you still receive the huge plasmatic gravitational magnetic field of the sun, but you have the sun contained itself in its structure. Otherwise, it will be all over loose as a plasma. The next step in teaching is containment. And then you decide how to contain. As part of it, you create a plasma which is at its field strength equal to the strength of the plasma at that point. And you only can do it by motion. You create different rotational layers in respect to each other, the same as the skin does. 3 layers of the magnetic fields gives containment of the skin of the man for the plasma of his body. So it shouldn't be that hard. But inside is a huge amount of energy. It's the same with the sun. You know the knowledge, it's just that you've got to translate it.
There's a related question. How can I get a matter-free container like this blue unit, this essential step from the GANs to plasma?
No, the unit is creation, it releases collective energy of the plasmas. That's all it is.
It's not that the container is matter-free necessarily. That's not the point.
Matter-free. You can make it matter-free.
Okay.
Containment can be matter-free, but as I said, this power unit we release is an interim. At least as a physicality, you're happy about something.
So this person wouldn't need a matter-free container to
you can use it, you can develop it, you can create it yourself.
And another question from, sorry, go ahead.
It's extremely easy, especially with the power units. It's extremely easy to create plasma containment at a very high order of magnitude.
We have the age-old question of, could Mr. Keshe show an illustration of what is inside the power unit?
Next question.
Thank you.
Patient, in 2 weeks' time exactly, you'll open it up and you'll eat it. But the problem is, some of you won't even understand it. It's so simple. That's why we give you the blueprint. And I bet most of you will not even be able to do it with the blueprint. It's like the patterns. We gave the patterns and nobody is moving. The greed of the man has blinded the man. That's what that ought to be. We are so greedy to have everything from it that you won't see what it gives you and how it does it. Next
question. Mika asked, I'm not quite clear on this question, but we'll see how it goes. Mika says, blue units are collectors. What need field generator? No, blue units are collectors. What need field generator with? Is what people may like to know. I think he's saying, what field does it need to work with? What field does it generate with?
I don't understand that question.
Yeah, I think you'll have to be more clear on that. It's hard for me to understand. He works with a translation software, I think, or some way to communicate that's not quite what we need. If you can clarify, Mika, a little better on what you mean with that question, just elaborate it. We'll try it again. I was in live stream. And see, back to the other questions here. Do we have a way to, this is Vasilin Pavlov again, do we have a way to precisely detect the direction of the plasma fields, gravitational and magnetic, within our systems? An easy way to do so in order to better tune our systems.
Not at the moment.
Yeah, that's something that we've talked about a fair amount, but they also mentioned that
you see, one of the problem is you will be able to do it in the coming time, but the problem is the direction of flow.
Yes, you mentioned, you showed a drawing yesterday about that with it's not a regular spiral necessarily, it's more erratic in its lines. Is that what you mean?
It's always DC, so it doesn't have a fluctuation as such. One of the ways to measure the strength of a plasma, especially in this kind of system, is to measure the flow in 2 different points of the same flow and then compare the difference and see if it's reducing or increasing. So I did this especially with the 2 field detectors which we have in the lab. It's the only way you can do. You measure the field flow in 2 different points of the flow. Then you see the strength and you see the direction of the flow. And now you have to develop plasmatic detectors than the matter detectors. Because it's DC, the only drop comes from the interaction of the fields as they go forward. Remember a major point in work of the plasma. The plasma always moves from a strength point of view, not from direction of flow. It can go uphill or downhill according where the strongest or the weakest is. Where, for example, with the water, you cannot go uphill. In matter state, it's unthinkable. But in the gravitational magnetic field plasma, it's the only way in which things flow. Position is irrelevant in respect to the totality of the environment. You decide if you are stronger or where you want to be in respect to the strength you detect. It's a different mindset, and to work in the matter and the plasma, it creates a lot of confusion.
Okay, we got a little more clarification from Mika here with, he says you need a generator part with the blue units. I think you covered that.
It's a unit or it's a power unit. With the power units, yes, you do. You need a comparison point in respect to the field flow of the plasma.
And that's what the grid provides, you mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. With the units you saw with the beads, that's a different concept, that's a different technology in respect to flow of the magnetic field. And the way Alex connects it, it forces the fields outwards and inwards. With these systems, we don't see such a thing at the moment. If you don't collect the field outwards, it'll go up the grid, and it nanocoats the grid materials.
Stephen Lee asks, how do you create flow in plasma?
Marco's favorite word, gradient. If you look at the structure of the human body, as we always speak, emotion is of the higher order than the lymph. And the gradient between the two in dictating what the neural system field flow dictates what materials created amongst it. The gravitational magnetic field flow of the blood at the tip of your finger is not different much than the one in your heart or in your leg. And it's the same lymph. It's the current flow in the neural system which dictates how much that potential drop difference drops, that it manifests itself as I said, the cell of your nail or your skin. Once you start understanding this, you'll produce all sorts of new materials and new conditions. And one of the advantages of it is, if you understand it, people with like discoloring of the skin, you will find out your skin can be leveled to say more monocolor in a very easy way. Because all you do, you put the system across which brings balance in respect to the environment of the rest of the fields of the skin, and then you find out like these patches of different color stains disappear. because you bring balance in different layers of the skin. You got to realize, for example, the change of the color in the skin is a change of the gravitational magnetic field in one of the 3 layers which produces that's given a spot. So when you bring balance, you find out over time that all these spots on the skin disappears. Or you can change the color of the skin as you like. A long way to go.
We have a question. Does the power unit come with all the parts that people need to have the Keshe technology without a need to add missing parts?
What do you think? We put ourselves out of business in one go?
Well, you did mention several times that there might be a water generator.
Oh yeah, in the coming time, yes.
And other such additions.
Yes. In the coming time, yes. At the moment, getting these power units out has been, what do you call it, an achievement. And now we go back to the next essential thing, which is water, and then with the water, the energy with it. It's very interesting how they want everything and they accuse of everything too. If you don't give it to us, you're a criminal, but you give it to us, you're still a criminal because you gave it to us not the way we wanted it. So we have there to do a lot of work to be correct.
It's definitely very hard to keep all the humans happy all the time. It's actually impossible, I believe. But perhaps we can keep at least a good portion of it.
We put our neck out, we know how to keep it there.
Do we get do we feel a cold or hot effect with the plasma generators, like an ion wind of some sort?
You can dream on, I don't know. If you feel it, you want it, you'll receive it. You will experience new dimensions in existence with these systems at home. Put one system in the basement and put one system on the top, put one system in each corner, and you cover everything you need in the house. But you got to find out where the things is to put that you need. You will find out your kitchen changes to the bedroom because that's where you feel most of the energy, you don't feel hungry. And God knows where it's going to be changed. It's a very exciting time coming up. Don't forget these systems have no rotating parts. They only feed outwards in what the man needs. I can see the brain of Alex working. He'll come up with a new device. Next question.
We have a question about the health cup from Esther's. Is the number of coils limited, or is there an optimum by number of coils, like there might be an optimum like the infinity coil? Is it meant because of the interaction of plasma and the transfer of properties according to the water that become to be informed? It's a little bit broken up there. They seem to be interested in the number of coils for the health cup.
I've never had a coils that way, so you teach us.
Right, I think some other people have shown health cups with wire wrapped around the outside, nano-coated wire and that kind of thing, or infinity coils attached sometimes to the outside of the container.
It's nice the way the technology is evolving according to what people think and can do. And that's what we call a free technology. Then people do and experiment and show. And it works on some and it doesn't work on the others, and they say it doesn't work. It's the expectation of what you want from the system. When you actually receive the expectation, if it's not justified for it's your expectation, but not of your soul or your emotion, you don't receive it. And people seem to don't understand this.
Well, certainly many people are having good results with the health cups and pain pens, especially, and pain pads and that sort of thing. I think
the pain plasma units which we'll release will be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm getting way more good comments than negative ones, that's for sure. There's lots of positivity around the whole thing, I'm finding.
Yeah, you see, because it's a plasma, if your expectation of the soul or the emotion is not what the physicality wants, you'll find people say it doesn't work. This is what I said to you last time in one of the teachings about what Alex was explaining about the system he made for himself, and he made the same for the other guy, and it didn't work for the other guy. And because it was expectation, they thought, oh, it's going to be a Rolls Royce all the time, but they don't know that what they had was already Rolls Royce compared to having a Mini before. It's the expectation, which is not, if it doesn't match up with the need of the emotion, it will not be fulfilled.
There's a question from Reiner about, is the continuous exchange between consciousness and energy comparable with the exchange between magnetic and gravitational fields?
I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not clear on that. I'll just read the question again.
Maybe is the energy itself.
You said consciousness is the energy itself.
It's energy on itself, because it has to be there that you know you're conscious of it. So it's not, this is what a lot of people don't understand, and somehow we got to get into their, what they call the rhythm of understanding. Emotion, consciousness, feeling is all energy based. Doesn't come from nowhere.
Yeah, I guess we as humans tend to use those terms, and we intermix terms with the physicality and the plasma as if they were all the same kind of.
No, it's we're going to a further schizophrenic between nanomaterial and the GANs, as we went between matter and plasma, and now we're going between the GANs and the plasma. It's normal. It's a confusion for a short time, and then it becomes a habit. That's why, as you heard in the teachings, we don't talk about the matters and GANs and the rest. As you've seen yesterday, the way I explained in teaching, that why are you going to make a GANs when the biggest, most powerful GANs is in front of you, which is your brain? You're going to produce something to release this energy where you actually have a control over it, and it's inside you. And it's part of you. So well, it needs people to evolve further, and that's what Sandy just touched, and people who are not part of the teaching don't understand. If you look, you go, you build a reactor, you create a field, or you create it, you make it rotate, because you need the rotation of what you call its field. But stand still 1 second and think. And then you find out, please don't go and jump off a cliff that you haven't seen it up to now. But if you do, it means you're not ready to go to space. But If you look, this is your core with material in it, you rotate it. This is your head, this is your brain, and you have an emotion and you have a matter state, and forever continuously emotion and emotion of the fields are inside it. Why do you go and build this when you already have this dynamic? If you look, your emotional part and the physical part, you release energy as a high field to convert into a lower that the rest can transfer through a spinal cord to your body, and at the same time, because of its strength, it radiates out and it covers the same body. Why do you need to do this? We had to go through the core because we wanted to see physicality of rotation. And what is the physicality of rotation? It's rotating gravitational magnetic field of the gas, which is dynamic. There we are. Stationary by the field now, and you have control over it from the second you were born. I go for this and this. It's just that you were looking. There's a small difference. This has a nose and an eye and a little hole. But in fact, it's the same thing. It's the way you have become too materialistic to look at only the core. You wanted it to rotate. You wanted it to have a GANs in it. You have the most beautiful dynamic GANs already has made all these dynamic connections available to you. All you need to do is to learn how to concentrate it into where you want and releases energy. Then this needs detachment from this, because you have your core inside at a very high strength. You see, you've been waiting for magic and the magic is inside you, but you don't see it. You wanted to create a dynamic core, your brain already creates that. It's well established for it. So, and it works at the highest level of field strength. If you get magnetic gravitational field strength, right? Your brain moves somewhere there, your matter state is there. And if you can do and manipulate it, you can increase it to any level you like. You have already mastered it. It's for you to be short-sighted. Look inside you and you find the answer into spaceship. Because when you can do that, your physicality can be embraced in it. You already are in the spaceship. And I was told somebody here has already managed to do it, but only leave gravitation. And he's very busy on his computer, I've been told. Carlos, would you like to explain to us? You have managed to do that, to bring the two forces together in your body? Not yet. But you know the way. Working on it. Explain to us how you're working on it, that we can learn. No, he knows nothing. So you should be able to do this in a very easy way. Then you should be able to give it a containment, as we explained yesterday in the teaching. How you give it a containment? If you direct it and give it a containment, you have it yourself. In the coming time, in the next few weeks, we'll come to it because it's not time ready for it. And we'll see around January, February, the right time. And there is a reason for it, then you'll understand. As the time for the release of the energy unit was October, the time for that will come when you can see and develop the spaceship program in the totality. Humanity needs a gap, very compressed gap, to understand it before you go to the next.
Mr. Keshe, what about the field of the heart? Its magnetic or emotional field is stronger than the brain's one, Rainer says.
No, the brain is stronger because it's the brain who dictates the emotion of the heart.
I think people are probably thinking in terms of, they see graphs of what's called the magnetic field of the body that scientists have shown, and it shows the heart producing a bigger magnetic field than the brain, like a magnetical type field.
But we're talking about both magnetical and gravitational. We're talking about the plasmatic field, and that's the difference. It's a huge difference. You are looking at half of the equation, which loses most of it, where you are not looking at the side of the equation, which gains most of it. In a plasma, walk away from singularity. You always look at what you give, what you take, what is left as a balance, which is you take more to be able to exist, and that's what you call the mass. So you look at the mass of what you can create according to the mass compared to where you want to go. In some space travels in the future, which is very highly advanced technology, you don't change the fields, you change the mass compared to. It's a very fundamental way of traveling. It's much more rapid, and this dimension is the dimension which I told you you haven't got the knowledge of yet. You travel by according to mass, which means the actual essence of creation in plasma field. It's far beyond. And in a way, if you look at it, if we draw it as a shape of a plasma, you have created the brain, the emotion, which created the soul. You work in a field in the center, if we call it, which is the soul of the plasma, and this is a very special area. Man has no access to it. You can't even comprehend it. It's the origin of the creation, which is the original creation of the totality of the universe. And it's embedded like RNA in every single cell of plasma. It's what you call, is in the center of what you call the principle. It's the soul of the principle. It's the soul of the plasma itself. It has its own line of communication with all the other plasmas in the universe, and it's equal and balanced, and in one way, it's always equal. That's how cells division, that's how we work. You call it the soul of the man. This is the soul of the plasma, unknown, sacrosanct man. It will not be known because the intelligence does not sit to understand the power. It's an extremely powerful way of use. You can cross, if you understand it, universes, not inside the universe. It's a level beyond what you call the principle. It has no dimension because even the plasma has a dimension. It's a dimension beyond the plasma. Those who want to know the origin of the plasma, then they have to understand the soul of the plasma, which is a long, long way from understanding of the man. And only understood by those who work across the universes, not for the ones who are involved in the universes. We only understand this when you understand the interaction, because this brings unity and equality between the universes, where at this level on, you're conditioned to the condition of the universe in releasing the fields, even though you are very much there. This is very much the center of, if you remember, your reactor. You had the matter, you had the water, and you had the solar essence. That's where it sits in there. And this is equal amongst all the universes, and it's equal, and it's open to the Creator. Next
question. Well, apparently we had some comments from the Chinese about they don't have translation and so on. And to them, I would say
is the job of the new Keshe Foundation they set up.
They need to get their translation together, yes.
Yeah, that's why we asked them to set up the manufacturing to be able to finance the foundations, that these translations can be done. The strange thing is, why don't the Chinese translate to the English that we understand the work they are doing? They're doing a lot of work. As much as they expect us to translate. Why you do some gorgeous jobs. I go on the Chinese different angles looking at what you're doing. You're doing so much beautiful jobs across Keshe foundations or individuals which work around the foundation. But why don't you translate it that we benefit? You just come and take, bring us some more. Every time we have you, we learn a lot of new things. By the way, we received your, if Carly is online, we received the sets and we are working on it. Armin has already put it together. The work which is going on, or Armin is starting it, is very interesting. I was explaining it to Marco this morning. What they have done, the Chinese community have sent us a 3-set stacker, 2 of them, of the unit which I showed you, individual system with the tubes around it. So what we are doing, Armin is setting up a system like this, that we have one single stacker. If you remember, it's like a single core in the middle and like 12 bottles around it, and it rotates. Now they've sent us 3 of these, or 2 sets of 3s, which means we have now a set here, and we have here another set, which is the same, 3 stacker. And what I'm planning to do, I'm already assembled it, is to load it, is all we're going to do, we're going to put CO2, we put CH3, we put CO2. Here we put CO2, we put CH3, and we put CO2 here. So we mix the emotion with physicality with energy. And here we haven't decided yet. Have you decided what you're going to put in there, Armin? Mix it. So what happens, we would like to see, with all these carrying 12 bottles around them, we're going to fill them up with pure water. And in some, we might introduce something like iron to see if we can lead to the creation of whatever. We will leave some more bits around, and we'll let these systems to run. What is interesting is that the gravitational magnetic field of this will interact with this, will interact with this, will interact with this. Same time, the cross-section will be back on the same. And at the same time, we put a deviation, which some of these fields will go this way too. So we want to see if we can produce different materials in different bottles as the fields interact. Conversion of fields into matter state. In the coming days, we'll see. We have everything is there. It's just, I think it's just filling it up with material and loading and running it. So in the coming time, we have a special base unit which we can fix it to and start seeing if we produce different materials or conditions in each bottle. We can change the bottle's content materials and see if they change color or whether. Then you see transformation of what they call energy in the plasmatic magnetic field into matter state, or not necessarily matter. If we drink these, would it create a different emotion in us? Because this is your emotional part, that's your physical part. If we drink this, with all this running, would it reverse a cancer in one of the bottles? So if we measure the energy transfer, this is an extension in a much bigger scale than what Alex taught you last Friday in his teachings, but in a much larger, because now you have something like 85 bottles with the loose ones we have, which we can replicate the huge dimensions. Because if you go by the order of magnitude, we can simply do some millions of combinations. Don't forget, what is it? 49, 7 combination has 14 million combination. That's how they estimate the lottos. If you buy every single number combination in lotto, with the 49 numbers with 7 options, you have 14 million combinations. So if you buy and you know the jackpot is 15 million and nobody else guesses your combination, you have actually won 1 million because you invested 14 million in getting all the numbers. That's why lotto companies stop on the online, because people can actually block the whole 14 million combination. When you know the jackpot is 100 million, you get, okay, one person guesses it, 15, 14 million. This way you have to go and buy a ticket one at a time. So now, if you put this together and you have 85 bottles, and then look at the combination, it's billions. That's why when I make my systems, I tell you if it's a 64,000 or 120,000 or 400,000 combination, in respect in what I set the reactors for. So you can see it's huge. Possibility of making even energies which is unknown at this moment to invent. It's a beautiful system. Thank you very much for the doctor in China and Carlite, who actually fitted everything, boxed it, connected it. All we have to do is just to fill it up. But translate your work that we can read, not just translating what we teach. We will announce as the units leave for different presidents around the world in the coming days. When we release a unit to China, we'll announce it has left, and when it's arrived and accepted, we announce it too. For every president will release a unit, departure will be announced, and arrival will be announced. And it means the responsibility of the nation and the leaders to share the technology with their nation. At this moment, 8 units are planned to leave. If we receive a correct request by different nationalities who are prepared to take, we will do, because the package which is given for the presidential dispatch is fitted for the president, and the one which are for the ambassadors are packed different weight. With the package which goes for the presidents goes the copy of the World Peace Message and the World Peace Treaty. It's him to open it. If he uses it, he's committed his nation to it. If he sends it back to the foundation, we accept it with regret, but I don't think many presidents will return it. It's all planned, it's all organized and be done. According to what we know, in one of the world leaders are planned for 2 units to go at the same time in 2 different directions, that there is no possibility of interruption. Next question. We have one guy who wants to be in both places.
Let's see, we have a question. Just get this line. A question from Vasilin Pavlov again. So a way to ensure we have the correct flow direction could be to make sure we have the higher strength fields at the position we would like the other fields to follow?
Yes, but you got to see if your magnetical is stronger or your gravitational is stronger. That's your problem. You got to measure the direction of the flow. Be able to direction if it's coming or going. If what is coming, you see, the problem is not a problem, but it's understanding the problem, or can be a problem. We just seen this earlier today. It is magnetical, is gravitational. Is magnetical, is gravitational. And what point here becomes part of the other? Or, as we even seen with the beads with Alex, at what point we decide to give it a connection back to its magnetic and back to its gravitational. And does all the magnetical goes across or some adds to here? It's a combination. You have to have a detection system that when you detect, you know where you are. Are you measuring at this point? Are you measuring at this point? Do you see this? Or are you there? Or do you see this? Or do you see this? Or here? Because here your magnetical is a gravitational to this one. There's a lot of indications, then you can see. Whereabouts are you missing or what you're doing? When you look at the planet, the magnetic field of the Earth, it goes like this. Some of it too. And then weaker, stronger fields go this way. And then they come from the sun. You get suppression from the stronger side, which means the stronger fields are here, and you get a weaker to go that way. Because you receive it from the other end. You have to start understanding what field, what gravity means, which direction. If the gravity is going this way and the magnetical in it is this way, is the magnetical stronger than the gravitational, and by what order of magnitude? Then indicates to you whereabouts you are in the structure. There is a lot. That's why you're here for a year or 2 or 3 years. We haven't even touched the surface of the plasma technology. Now that we've started. Then you have to understand in what magnitude you decide to have what. Because if you understand this from the power unit, any of these points you can create any material. You don't need the totality. It's you who have to understand, are you dealing with this field or are you dealing with this field or here? What is your reference point of strength? If you look what we saw in the medical pen, you go through it. Because that's what you did. You put the pin in the middle, where you brought the gravitational and magnetical inside each other. If you look at some of the medical, what do you call it, the pens which people are used, I've seen Alex doing it. He makes the pen with the two coils, and then he puts a pen in, and then on the tip he puts a GANS of, for example, CO2. Or he puts the GANS of whatever he likes, a pain-killing system. He chooses his GANSes. So he emphasizes to limit the structure. This is what I explained to you before. You coil, and then you spray on it what you like. Now Alex does that. It's because some of the pens, when he was here, he made. He dips it into the GANS. So now he emphasizes on the strength of this, for example, CO2, to be stronger for emotional part of the pain. Different people have started extending the knowledge. What happens when you spray your pens and your windings on the pens with aspirin nano-coated? Would it be with morphine? Would it be with, what do you call it, vitamin C? And then when the field forces come, would they emphasize on that? Do we need it? Because now this is a matter state we don't work in. Extend your knowledge, extend the, one thing which most of you who sit around these teachings and listen always tell you, and if you remember, and if you understand it, understanding is the most important part. The only limitation on this science, on this technology, on this knowledge, is your own understanding. Nothing else. Nobody can limit you. Nobody can tell you, you do this, you do that. Because it's you who decide what you expect or what you want to expect from a system the way you set it. Yes. Wait. I'm going to get them shouting at me. You can't hear it.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, I'm learning. I've become my own sound engineer.
You need a sound engineer pretty badly there, yes.
This is Ali. Sir, I want to understand your opinion to giving us for about from point A to the point B, transferring plasma energy. What you're thinking about nanocarbon fiber cable?
I have no opinion about nanocarbon fiber.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. When you go back, we're not going back. You want to go to nanocarbon fiber, we left the Earth, we are in a space, we work only on plasma. You're not taking me back. It's taking me long enough to bring you lot forward, and going back is too difficult. Next question.
Okay.
What's the time, please?
We have about another 15 minutes left.
1 o'clock, okay. Pardon? What? 9 o'clock, so we are already nearly 3.5, 4 hours, no problem. I think it's best on Thursdays we carry on if it was becoming 2 long sessions. Very, very long session.
Do you want to break off now, Mr. Keshe?
I think it's good because I'm getting old and not as young as I used to be.
We're all getting old, I think, but in a way we're getting younger too as we learn more about the plasma, I think.
Oh, depends what you're drinking, huh? But please, as I go back to the beginning where we started, have you received the list from Kevin? Rick?
Not
Nope.
sure.
Nope.
No.
It's in the process of being created.
Okay. In the next couple of hours or today or early tomorrow, hopefully, how these chaps in Canada use their, what do you call it, maple leaf syrup, we'll put up pages on where a platform letter has been written for you to paste and copy, and all the emails of the embassies around Rome has been written.
Yes, I put the letter up already in the forum, Mr. Keshe. We just have to have the embassies or ambassador.
I'm your president, but don't forget, we live in a two-dimensional life at the moment, and the other dimension is on the 17th of October in the morning in Manila, the second ambassadorial meeting is taking place too. So we have two ambassadorial meetings with the same name, but the other one is called Manila Energy, Free Energy for in exchange for peace. So we need you to support not just the Keshe Foundation 16 November here. We need the support for you to inform your governments for the 17th of October in Manila too. Brennan, would you like to explain to us what is your position? You just started it, if it's there.
Hello, yes, Mr. Cash.
Okay, would you enlighten us what you're doing and what time?
For here in the Philippines, we are going to set it up on the October 16 at 2 p.m. Philippine time. So that will be already 6 hours in your time. So the original time in Italy will be at 8 p.m. Central European time on October 16. So it's still 2 a.m. here. So we will have our activity after in the afternoon here. So
on the 17th.
Forgot how to. So we will be doing it ahead, and I will be recording eventually the event. And after that, here in the Philippines in the afternoon, I will be presenting the in your time. In the morning in Italy's time.
Thank you very much. So what we give to the
I think it's still
ambassadors?
16 because we have only 6 hours difference.
Yeah.
Difference.
So
we'll be inviting if also the ambassadors and some leaders.
You still do the 1 unit per ambassador with a blueprint, as we do here. Renan?
Yes, sir. We will present that technology.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're breaking up there, Renan.
Renan, you're breaking up.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Can you repeat?
Hello? Can you hear me,
Yeah,
sir?
if you can repeat the last thing you said there, Renan. It's quite low and hard to hear.
Oh, okay. For the unit.
Yep.
Okay. Is that clear now?
Yes, but what I asked, you still be giving a unit to each ambassador plus the blueprint.
What we're doing, sir, here is if we get an ample of For the units, we will decide for the group yet. If we will give the unit, maybe the blueprint.
Ah, okay. Maybe they give a blueprint, maybe they give the unit. It's no problem. Thanks very much, Renan. But understand that the Philippines has already got start producing.
Okay.
They have start building a stock. Yeah? It's okay, Renan. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you also. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So in that meeting, the same way, if they give a blueprint or a unit to each ambassador, but the Philippine Keshe Foundation Manufacturing has already got a stock. So they are in production and producing, and they'll have more of by the 16th enough. They reckon they will have 500 units on the floor by the 16th. Or by the end of this month. That's the target. Our target here, we have ordered 12,000 units for this month, or by the 16th, and we meet the target of at least 12,000 units has been ordered.
Mr. Keshe, one last quick question. Will the power unit come with instructions?
Of course.
Okay.
No, we just give it to you, you guess. That'll be a very good job. See which end is which. Only 2 wires comes out of it. No, they come with everything. You will see. It's done highly professional. With a CE certificate attached, which is once your CE certificate, you cover most of the government's requirement. The health pens will come with a CE certificate too, and the units which we will give to the ambassadors carries a full blueprint with a full instruction how to produce. If governments decide to do it themselves, or they decide to hand it over to the other people, but on the other hand, people already have it. It's for them to test. Actually, if you go to the understanding of why we give them a unit, is when they use it and they see what is there, they know what is to come in a very short time. So they start planning their financial plan. That's all it is. It's not to show them you can take it and show it. It's to show them how easy it is and how every man can do it. And as we distribute thousands and thousands across the world in the coming weeks, then you see the government taking a step to understand. And that's the whole purpose, that when they test it and they see they're using everything and there is no energy, then they understand the change is on the way. And then there is no budget for what they plan income from the fuel, what they plan for the sale of the oil, what they plan for the sale of energy taxes. 2 ways we see it. They might tax you breathing. That's the only way we see it. Every man breathes has to pay taxes now. Or, on the other hand, the initial cost cut comes as we saw with the Eastern Bloc when the financial economical situation in the East Bloc collapsed in late 1980s, 1990s. The first thing which we saw the government let go was military. And we are betting on the same thing. I was highly involved in the evolution in the time of the 1990s, 1980s, 1991 changes in the Eastern Bloc. What we saw was that the first thing the armies, the governments stopped was the spending on the army. They let the soldiers go. And the consequences of that was immediately we saw on the West, the Western Europe, what we call EU, immediately one of the first cuts we saw was military. And the way the military was cut was to open all the borders. When you have no borders, you don't need no soldiers. So we expect the same move in the next 6 months. When people lose their income on the financial gain of the, energy and fuel, then one of the first cuts will come is military. And that's why we say in exchange, we don't force you to sign it. The situation will force itself on the government. We saw it between the East, what happened simultaneously within a matter of weeks. West East stopped spending huge amount of money on military because they didn't have to. The soldiers became unemployed, and we saw on the West, national service and everything else suddenly disappeared. Borders disappeared, everything disappeared. So we expect the same thing to happen, but the governments have to know what is coming. So please go on the website of the Keshe Foundation, invite the ambassadors to 2 meetings, one in Manila and one in Rome, and if you like, come to Rome. But you'll be on the street, at least you encourage the ambassadors to understand what is the difference. We don't know what to expect as usual, but we expect at least we get enough support by one ambassador. That's good enough, at least as a point to start. But according to what we've seen in the past 2 meetings, a large number of ambassadors will turn up. And this is what we're expecting. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's the political pressure. And from what we hear, we might have a favorite wind in our direction because they know if they don't, the unit is already out. It's better work within it than oppose it. So please go on the Keshe Foundation website, download the, what do you call it, the letter, and send it to every ambassador. Encourage them to attend and do both for the Philippines, because they are part of the Keshe Foundation for the same work. Thank you very much for today, and we'll see you later on.
Great, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
About 2:30. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, great. Okay, that's the end of the 81st Keshe Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, October 1st, 2015. And once again, thank you everybody for attending. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.